we try to bring a lot of different perspectives from the fishing industry on these shows. And we have pro anglers and we have guides and we have amateurs and we have everything in between. And we've had, pretty good success in some of our founder series with like Gary Dobbins and a few other people talking about up and coming companies. And I think this week it'll be fun to get a unique perspective from a small up and coming brand in the bass fishing industry and really learn what it's really like, kind of get some of that insider backstage kind of behind the scenes look. And I think it'll be an interesting show, an interesting conversation. I'm sure the fans will have plenty of questions this week. So, welcome, Dan Fabiano from Arsenal Fishing. What's going on, Dan?
What up, buddy? Excited
Not
to be
much.
back on HellaBass.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
hopefully people got the memo that we're on Tuesday night. HellaBass Live had some hockey rescheduling this week, and so as usual, HellaBass Live is presented by Arsenal Fishing and boosted by Powerhouse Lithium. Ready to rock and roll. We've got I don't know, a lot of fun things to talk about. I think this week we're creeping in on the Cyber Week coming up, and the Black Fridays, and the Small Business Saturdays, and the Cyber Mondays, and all the things. But must be an
I
exciting
forgot there's a
time for you.
label for like every day. Yeah, like Small Business Saturday. I forgot about that. You got Cyber Monday. I ended up turning that into Cyber Week because it's like everyone kind of feels like they missed out on those couple of days. Plus, Black Friday just doesn't feel like what it used to. I mean, everyone was rushing out, on Black Friday to get doorbusters. Now everything's online instead. So it's like people don't have that urgency to go out. And especially within our industry, it seems like there's promo codes going out all year round. So it doesn't really give people that anticipation of being like, oh, I got to save on Black Friday. But this year, we're definitely going to do some cool stuff and kind of give more of a discount than the next guy. It's because we got a bunch of inventory. We're getting ready for 2025, and we really want a lot of good local and national support going into this promo week, I would say, or promo 2 weeks. So we're excited to do some stuff.
So for those
But
that are
yeah,
confused, it is Tuesday. It is not Wednesday. So you don't have to check your phone or your calendar. Sorry if I'm throwing off everybody's week here. Yeah. So welcome all the Visor gang this week. Yeah. And it's the other thing I've noticed, I don't know, I guess I watch the fishing stuff more closely, but I've noticed like, our favorite brands like Waypoint and Omnia, they're all running their Black Fridays like in the early, early to mid-November versus waiting till Black Friday. And they might do something different on Black Friday, but I don't know if that's happening outside of fishing, but that's kind of been the trend in fishing is to release the Black Friday like a week or two before Black Friday.
it seems like that's everywhere. That's why I don't feel like there's that urgency anymore because then companies over the last 3 years, they're like, well, I'm going to beat out the other big retailer and put it out the week before. So we get, we garnish people's money before the actual promo day shows up. So, I mean, like today, we're going to drop a code in here for 35% off. So anyone that goes today or tomorrow will have a heads up before we actually publicly and formally announce the code in our our promo for Black Friday and Cyber Monday and Cyber Week and stuff. So we'll drop it towards the end of the video for everybody. But that's like our early release is a couple days before Black Friday. I just have too much on my plate to try to do this beforehand, and we're already giving everyone like a week and a half of discounts and promos. Like, I don't really feel like we need to do that for the entire month. So
So
it's
it's
just
like
it's kind of a wackadoodle concept now, but I
it's
guess
like
it's more of
Cyber
like Black
Monday,
Friday
and then
bump.
it's Cyber Week, and then it's Cyber Month. Now it's like Cyber Season.
Exactly. And like what I was saying, there's just so many promo codes all year in our fishing industry. It seems like you can get 20% off anything you want if you just do a little bit of online research and look up your companies or look up their Instagram accounts or go to their YouTube and see the most freshest YouTube that posted a discount code. But I do a really good job at actually expiring our code, so you have to find the next code. And you obviously do some of the best codes with HellaBass for us, so I appreciate that. But yeah, again, people use HellaBass 10. Is that the code?
HellaBass
Yours?
15.
Yeah, HellaBass 15. And yeah, save 15% off your next order.
So
Oh,
this
and
week
I want
you won't need to.
what? Oh, but what I want to tell people though, if you get something this week but you heard us talk about the stuff, there's a little comment section when you place your order. I'll say any more information or comments. Just say, hey, I was here from HellaBass, or Rich sent me, or HellaBass sent me, and I can at least connect that to Rich and this live, and then you're helping out Rich as well. So, just try to remember that at the checkout process, please, everybody. That it helps both Rich and I out at the same time. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So we'll have a Black Friday early leak during the show.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a world premiere tonight, which we'll be
Ooh.
displaying tonight. We'll talk about some things. I think you've got a couple like leaks and secrets and things like that. But and obviously we'll ask questions in the chat if you have questions about how things work, or how new products, or the history of arsenal fishing, or like some of that kind of stuff. Ask that. I'll star the questions and I'll weave those into the show.
Yeah, I would love to hear as many like Q&As today as possible, because I get so many questions and emails or comments or on the phone. I spend a lot of time talking to people on the phone, actually. So like if people want to have questions, then I would love to answer them. So thanks,
I think
Brian.
there's quite a few people that are already customers, already fans. I know Brian's got a bunch of the tools and baits. I know a lot of times Darius, I see his posts on Instagram. He's wearing one of his Arsenal hoodies a lot of times, and when he's out fishing on
Yeah.
Kentucky Lake. So, so that's one thing. I know I definitely have heard. I don't think we've talked about it here, but I know I've heard you talk about it on Teals and maybe some other places. But like, maybe just give like what's the story behind Arsenal? What's the brand? What's the
Well, when I started Arsenal, it was in 2014, and I had come from the rollerblade industry, where I put 16 years into owning two other small rollerblade companies. One was an accessory company that made like wheels and bearings and protection gear, and the other was like a clothing brand where we made like denim, stretch denim, and different kind of cool tops and bottoms and stuff. And when I moved to Minnesota, back to Minnesota in 2012, I was kind of getting back into that fishing, what I wanted to do as a kid, and the rollerblading stuff was kind of going out just because of injury, and there wasn't that much profitability in the industry. So I kind of moved it, and one of my old companies was called Con Artist Brand. Now it's the clothing brand. So I still had a lot of clothing left in inventory, but I didn't necessarily want to like leave it. So I made my first company actually called Con Artist Outfitters, and that was like the first outdoor brand I had when I came back, and only had like one fisherman, which was Kent Middlestat. And we met up real early in like my bass fishing years. And Kent was very like, he wanted to help, he wanted to promote it, he wanted to see it grow. So I had Kent helping me out with Con Artist Outfitters. But within like a year, I was still kind of like on the fence of still keeping that name and using that name. And I always had the name Arsenal in the back of my head because our family came from military manufacturing back on the East Coast, and we worked with Picatinny Arsenal, which was like right up the road from where I lived in New Jersey. And so that name Arsenal always fit really well. And and when I got into bass fishing, I had a lot of dudes always asking, "Hey, what's in your arsenal?" And so I was like, "Hey, I have it in the back of my head. I have a concept for logo already. Like, let's go with it." And then, fast forward another year, and I'm in London seeing my brother. He's an opera singer, and after a show, we were walking around London at night, and I was giving him the idea of my new company, and he wanted to invest a little bit, and I was like, great, I can work with my brother a little bit on the company. He didn't want anything a part of it. He just wanted to help out with like strategic planning and be kind of funded a little bit. But the whole deal with him was get rid of the old brand name, use that Arsenal name, and you got my money. So that's kind of how Arsenal started. And then kind of bought my brother out within the first couple of years, just because he wanted to just get me going. And then I've kind of been rolling with it from there. And like my whole deal is, even when I left my last two companies, it was always about making quality accessories, doing a little bit above and beyond the other guys that were in my target, my range of what I can sell and do. So that was the whole thing, is like, hey, let's try to like first promote the company as much as possible on like a local level. And that's when I was like, with sponsoring Bass Nation and TBF and ABA and any high school or or college I possibly could have at the time. Any local events, I tried to get my foot in the door there. And I did that strong for 5 to 6 years just to get the name and the logo present in our local market. And then now I've kind of pulled that back and, put our marketing money into what I feel really brings a good return on our investment, or where we're going to have the most engagement and following with those marketing capabilities. But yeah, I'm all about love accessories. Because anyone can make T-shirts and hats and hooded sweatshirts, and anyone can like pour their own jig or soft plastic now. So a lot of my focus is turning into Arsenal being a primarily an accessory company, and we're still gonna dabble and tackle, especially whatever's been in our catalog the last couple years. That's starting to show that we have sellout products and sellout, brand names like the Sniper Swim Jig or the Tactical Minnow. Those are two that are doing really well for us. Um, Stuff like that, I'll keep in the pocket for the company. But from moving forward, it's going to be fine tuning what our top sellers right now, and then also listening to customer feedback and making sure we're promoting and building products that people need and want right now at the highest quality possible. So that's kind of where my head's at with the company. And we've just kind of been running the same game every year. I kind of try to introduce one or two new more products, maybe reduce the catalog here on like low sellers, bring in something new, try to fine tune it over the years to make it a top seller. And then right now we're just trying to fine tune the team, trying to fine tune our promotions, trying to fine tune our marketing, but overall the aesthetics of the brand to get it to the next echelon of our business. Like I feel like we've done well on a local standpoint, and our national reach is starting to grow, but we need to like give it that more oomph. Like we need to like really expel it past the followers. It needs to get into the public's eye more, and that's what we're really putting our time and money into this year and moving forward.
David says he's a fan of the tools. Yeah, I was just thinking like, uh, I kind of was like a joke, right? Because I knew like the pliers were coming
Excalibur's.
out, Excaliburs for a while, and I had these like just terrible pliers in my boat for like 2 seasons because I was waiting for these, and I didn't want to like go get another pair of pliers because I knew these would be the pliers that I needed,
Yep.
and so I didn't want to go spend $10 on a pair of pliers that like was gonna like so. And actually, I had an okay set of pliers, but then I took RJ fishing from Powerhouse Lithium, and he had a pike, and he dropped my pliers in. So then I really had bad
Yep.
pliers for like 2 years until so.
It's tough to make good quality tools, because even when you go overseas and you talk and build the molds and find the right materials, people, even suppliers will lie to you and say, hey, this is completely stainless steel, this is made out of titanium, we're going to do this and this for lubrication or your suspension device. Then you get it, you actually go through the prototyping comes out perfectly how you want, then you get the mass production, and it's done maybe a couple steps behind what your prototype comes out. I'm not saying this happens all the time, but with the tooling market, I feel like you really have to be on top of them, or they're going to cut some costs or cut some corners during the mass production. So
Sure.
quality control is huge in my company, so that's what we do a lot of. Even if I QC a prototype and it's 99%, 100% ready for production, and then it comes in and it hits 80% or 85%, trust me, that's why like the pliers didn't come out a year and a half ago, because something happened on the final production where I was like, this doesn't cut it. You guys are redoing all of this. So I really, I have to usually look two or three steps ahead, like not just, hey, this is hitting my desk and I get to play with it in my boat and on my desk. How is a customer going to react when this freezes up because it was left out in the rain for 2 days, or this was left out in the bottom of your boat for an entire season? Like I have to kind of try to forward think, and like I also need a year to test that stuff out. I had to have those pliers in my boat for 2 years, a year and a half, to see when's the rusting point, and how do you get to the rusting point, and how well do I need to teach our customers to take care of their tools too, because not everything is rainproof and waterproof. Even though if it says it's water resistant and waterproof, it's it's not always that. So you do have to take care of your stuff, just like you take care of your scale. You spend $100 or $200 on these scales. You don't just leave it out in the rain, because there's components inside that can fry up or freeze or rust as well. So just with your tools, sometimes you got to take those scissors, you got to take those pliers, dry them off at the end of the day, put them in a compartment, bring them out on your next trip.
So
But
you're saying that I shouldn't just leave them in the external
tool,
plier holders in the camus for 3 years straight through the winter and everything?
well, like it's crazy. Like our covert scissors, I've left those in my boat for 2-3 years, and there's maybe the tick of rust at the pivot point, but other than that, they're still golden. I'm using the same covert scissors I did 3 years ago in my boat. Same with the battle scissors too, which are currently sold out. Thank you, everybody. We got another
Yeah.
batch of coverts coming pretty
So
soon here.
obviously,
Or
I haven't had.
another batch of
I've only
battles.
had these in the boat for like what, a month or two now, but we got all kinds of rain in Oklahoma
Yeah.
when I was down there. But like literally, I have the older version of this, the
Yep.
wacky tools, a pair of coverts, a pair of battle braids. They've literally been sitting in my boat for 3 years, not
Oh,
covered, never dried off, and they look great. So
yeah, I have all green handles still sticking out of my boat. Like I'm preaching good tool ethics, but I'm bad with it too, just because I know that my stuff holds up. Like we're talking about, we both keep it in our boat, rain, snow, and shine. We don't hardly move it, and they're still working to this day. And even if there is a little bit of rust on it, hit it with WD-40, clean it off, and you're good to go for another 2-3 years. We also warranty some of our products. Like I like the Nico tool. I mean, that has like a 2-year warranty, even though that thing should last you 5, 10+ years, no doubt. Weigh bags, we put I think a year or 2 year on our weigh bags. So we try to give some like confidence in our products to the people when they purchase them as well.
here's your first solution or first problem to solve. So when you got those buddy, like you're really like if you're like me, Dan, you always put your pliers and scissors back in the holder in the same spot in your boat.
Correct. Yeah.
Can you figure out a way that when your fishing buddies use your pliers and scissors that they just don't throw them on the deck and throw them on the floor and they actually get them back in the tool slot?
I mean, without it being like tethered to you, or it's like on that retractable cable where it's like,
Can you figure
it
out a
goes
way where
right
like
back
you
to
can
the
put like a
holder.
little shock collar on your co-angler or your buddy so that if they don't put the pliers back, it shocks them?
That would be nice. I don't know how many guys, like we were talking, your buddy drops a pair of pliers in the water the other day, getting rid of a pike. I don't know how many guys have done that. Like we're all done. We've done it all by accident. We cut our line and then we throw our scissors in the lake instead of our lure. Like
I suppose this
can't
does come with
shouldn't have
this, so
done
I
that.
I could lanyard this to the tool so they can't get further than this away from where it goes.
Yeah, you could. When I used to actually run the butt seat on the front of my deck all the time, I had a big lanyard for that tool so no one could run away with it. They either have to come up or pull it to like halfway back to the boat to use it. But I guess, yeah, I mean, just like we have the retractable cable for our Ninja scissors, you could make one extra long that goes like the whole length of a 20-foot boat. So you
Or
can
maybe there's
attach it
just
to
a
your
contact
console.
in the tool holder, so if it's like when you leave the fridge door open, that after 45 seconds it starts beeping to put it back.
That actually would be really funny. Yeah, you could set it up if it's gonna beep. You could also set it up where you got something on their wrist, so it buzzes them. Hey, dude, put it back. Hey, dude, put it back. The amount of
So
times, like
yeah.
you're saying, like there's tools that go up missing all the time.
So Jim says, I own and operate my own business for several years, and when I ran advertising, I only saw a 1% return from advertising. Can you talk about what you see from the fishing industry?
Ooh, that's a great question, and it's a tough question at that, because what I'm always doing is constantly sampling different ways to market in the industry. And 8 years ago, 5 to 8 years ago, it was like, hey, just hashtag things with your team and post pictures of people utilizing your product. But that's like water now. That's what everyone's doing. So it's not intriguing. What's upsetting is so many things now are clickbaity. You got to have this crazy title or a crazy thumbnail to drag you into something. And sometimes you get dragged into something that is worth debate. And then there's a lot of times where you click it and you're like, they didn't even talk about that sentence that was posted in the clickbait. But I'm not trying to get too off topic. There's a lot of things that you can do, but it's a lot of trial and error. And a lot of people in our fishing industry, their first thing that they want to do right now, and this is actually on my list of talk about, is to build a pro team, to build a pro staff team, an ambassador team, whatever you want to label it as. And I've obviously dabbled in that for the last, we're on like our 11th year of the company right now, dabbled in it since year one. And the last 4 years, I went all in on it. I actually took a significant pay cut myself to give it to my team just to see, hey, is this working? You know, and it's really hard to see that working or not unless you can track what they're doing all the way back to the sale. And when people just post on their Facebook page or their Instagram and they don't really have any type of thing to link it back, it's your word versus my word, or it's unless someone calls me on the phone or in an email after the order, they say, hey, I came from Hunter's Facebook page, or I came from Rich's YouTube channel. It's really hard to track that to see that your investment into that rider, that team person, is actually being beneficial to the company. Now, for someone like Rich, it's great because Rich and I have a code, and when anyone comes here at HellaBass Live and uses his code, it gets tracked, and I can see weekly, literally daily or weekly, Rich's code come in, and then I can be like, okay, I can put my pulse on actually the sponsorship of Rich and say that I'm just spitballing a number here. Rich brought in $30,000 of sales this year, and I can be like, that was worth whatever I pay Rich. But with the rest of the team, it's very difficult. Like even back in the day, I can say back in the day, 5, 8 years ago, when I would put someone like Connor on the team, Connor was building a nice buzz for himself. So, and the company was so small that people would just call me and be like, hey, I need 50 jigs. And Connor told me they're the best jig. Okay, great. I could still link it to Connor and link that sale to Connor. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't call in and give a referral anymore. And even with referral programs, it's nice to have a shot at referral programs, but it seems like a lot of people, like, they sign up for the referral programs but they don't go through with it. So it comes down to the user and the person you put on the team and how much they're actually putting back into the efforts of building your brand and not just themselves. And I think a lot of guys are getting lost on that now. They think that every company is just going to come out of the woodwork and give them the world just because they catch bass. And I know you've probably heard this on, you guys have heard this on multiple podcasts, but it's the truth. Coming from a small business guy that's literally taken a $30,000 pay cut to give to my team the last couple of years, just to see if this is working out. And it's honestly, it's not working out that great, but I'm still running with it because I believe in the people that I sponsor and I want to see it work. And every year it gets a little better, but it's not exponentially getting better to where I'm like, I'm going to feed into it even more. I'm going to take more of a pay cut or put more money into the team because it's just not there. We need to figure out how to amplify the company in other means. And when that comes into play now, it's like, okay, do we do billboard ads off the side of the highway? Do you do Facebook and Instagram ads? Do you advertise on YouTube or other social platforms that have advertising streaks? So all that stuff is constantly going through the brain. One of the big ones that you guys have probably seen over the last years, we put a lot of money into wrapping guys' boats. Now, I'm not necessarily dropping the whole ticket for the expense of the wrap, but I've given guys maybe the money for half the wrap or an entry fee into one of their bigger events to help them afford their expenses, where other companies and other sponsors these guys have, they're not doing any of that. So I've tried to at least like allow guys to feel that love from a sponsor where they've been asking for it. It's hard to get even $100 from a sponsor now, no matter how good you are. It's like, unless you're an elite caliber pro and the
Can't hear your mute. I think you got to unmute yourself. I think it auto muted you when you Can you should be like a little mic down in your settings. Try now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Test.
you actually sound better now, I think.
Okay, cool. Sweet. Yeah,
Yeah.
these are the pros. Those are the first edition ones, so there's probably a better mic in these. Um, yeah, so I'm not trying to like I'm probably ranting right now. I'm not trying to like downgrade my team at all. I believe in everyone on the team, and I obviously am the biggest supporter for everyone that I do sponsor. But even I'm not even just talking about my team, I'm talking about other companies too. You got to figure out how to make your your team not profitable, but you got to figure out how to light the fire under the team to actually see a return on your team, because it's got to be more than just posting and little discount codes. It's like you got to start putting the money into making commercials, putting money into making professional products. That's what I used to do in the rollerblade industry. If I made a wheel, I would make one seasonal wheel, and then I would make two other wheels that came out with the seasonal wheel, and they would be pro wheels. So Rich would have his own pro wheel with his name on it, and then he would get a residual off all the sales. I would love to get to that pro product or incentive based thing for my team, but it's difficult when the sales are only still very local and not on a national level. So until I can get the company from here to here, it's going to be really hard to get more to my team or incentivize my team to go out and sell more for me. It's like a catch-22 in a sense, but I'm working every day at trying to figure out how to manage the team to actually be very successful. And a lot of what's happening in our industry right now is it's downsizing. And it's not, when people hear that, they get, oh, okay, everyone's just dropping teams, dropping money. It's like, as a business, you have to look at what's working and what's not working. Whether that's a product that's not selling and you got to discontinue it, or it's a team member that's just not, you gave them one shot, you gave them two shots, and you maybe gave them three shots, and they're just not, they haven't figured it out, and maybe not necessarily for themselves, but for the entire team, for the company itself. They're not really growing with the team. They're just trying to grow themselves. And that's what I'm seeing with almost every pro angler out there. It's like they want to build their own career. They don't want to help out build the companies around them. And that's one thing that these guys got to like really soak into their head is whoever's in their pocket now. A lot of these pro team managers, because I talk to a lot of them, all of my competitors, and we're all like in the same bucket here. A lot of guys are about to get the axe all over the board. They just don't know it, because it's all too monotonous in our industry. There's nothing, you gotta be that different thing. Like, this is a good point. When Iaconelli became Iaconelli, he sold himself, he branded himself, because we were all in golf shirts and polo shirts fishing, and everyone was the same. But then what happened? Iaconelli got on the boat, showed passion, showed personality, started screaming, even if you thought it was fucking annoying. He was doing it. And it actually, that was the year I got into fishing, was when like Ike was like booming. And that's what kind of shifted me into the industry was, holy shit, there's personality in the sport. But now what has happened, a lot of guys built their own personalities in their boat, and they're more boisterous on live, and they got passion and excitement or drama going. All right, so now there's so much of that. What makes you different from all those other guys too? So like pro team dudes, you gotta, if you're like thinking like, hey, I want to get on this team, or I want to fish for this company, you have to think really outside the box now. It can't be about in your resume or your proposal, oh, I've been state champion once, or I've won these top tens. Whoop-de-doo. We all got top tens. We all did good in bigger events. What are you bringing back to the company that's going to grow us? That's what every team manager, I'm giving you guys the fast track to get on a team and actually get a paycheck from these companies, is to say the right words. And so you need to understand, like, you gotta cut through all the bullshit. We don't care about all the fa la la anymore. How are you gonna grow my company? And then once you tell me you're gonna grow my company and help me build my company up, prove it.
because everyone can say good words, but prove it. And once you prove it, that's when you're locked in. That's when you start building the family. That's when you were on 1 year contract. Now you got a 2, 3, 5 year contract with these companies. Now you feel, okay, I'm locked in. Now I can like feel comfortable moving forward. Okay, I'm going to do the Toyota series. I'm going to do the opens because I know I have a 3 year contract with 2 of these companies that are giving me X amount of dollars to help me through my career. But a lot of guys, they're not thinking like that. They just think with their, I hate to say this, but their ego of their own fishing and not the business side of them also as a career earner. You want to be a pro angler? I'm talking to the young kids too here, that every high school kid, I say, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be a pro angler. Great. What are you going to do to get there first? Unless you have mommy and daddy's paycheck and money, you got to do this all yourself. And I've witnessed it doing the jerseys for all these high schools the last 8 years. I went from making jerseys for teams that hit 75 to 150 kids on a team to now they have dropped significantly to 40 to 20 to 12 guys on a team. And that's because you need the commitment, the money in this sport is unreal. And to keep people in it, you got to keep people motivated by incentives and money. That's like the main thing that keeps guys around, you know? And the other thing that's driving guys away right now, whether this is a fine line in our sport right now, but is all the electronic stuff, the forward-facing sonar stuff. It's a hot topic. I could go on for days about that, but that's also driving a lot of companies like mine. Our sales are going down because of those technologies, and it's also going down because there's more and more guys quitting tournament fishing right now, or not doing as high a caliber tournament fishing and going back to the lower levels because the forward-facing sonar stuff is too hard of a competition. So you're seeing just sales in all of our companies, not just mine, just everyone's sales are kind of dropping because of multiple things right now in the industry. And so you have to figure out how to get above it before it buries you.
So yeah, I think back to the
rant,
the differentiation. I think, yeah, like I think everybody has to like look at like, is there value for a endemic company in a wrap, in a jersey, in a right? Like, how does that dollar for dollar stack up against somebody that creates content or somebody like or doing digital ads or versus sponsoring a team trail or a tournament organization? Like, I think you really got to look at like, for every dollar I'm putting in this bucket, what do I see? And for this bucket, and I mean, I think there's probably a few elite, and I'm not saying Bassmaster, but just like whatever 1% or 10%ers where like the logo on their jersey or wrap might help. But I think there's so many wraps and jerseys now that like I don't think there's a ton of value there.
There isn't, but the first, like, we've been doing it now for Arsenal, I think like 5-6 years. And so the first 2-3 years we did the wraps and we had like 8 in our state. I saw a good change with sales. I saw a lot of people saying, hey, always commenting or coming up. I see the logo everywhere, Dan. Was that your boat? No, it was what color boat? Because every Arsenal team member had a different color. So I could at least go, okay, the purple boat was Kent. The blue boat was Arnold. I was green. Hunter was red. Vice versa. So I did that, strategically. So when people said, hey, I saw your boat, which one was it? And then I could like kind of gauge, okay, this person's getting some good following or engagement, or people are noticing the boat. And I heard that a lot for the first 3 years until it turned into what you just said. Man, everyone's got a wrap boat now. I mean, a lot of guys are doing it because it's not even the sense of like really advertising their brands. It's protecting the boat. Like, gel coat's expensive. I just had to redo all my gel coat on my boat that I'm selling. Thank you, Vexus, for helping me out there. But if you don't have it on warranty or something, you're spending $25,000 to regel your boat. I would rather wrap it and save it on UV rays or spider cracks or getting it knocked up against a tree or a dock. It does help. I don't care if it rips through the wrap and you do get a little scuff mark. If that wrap wasn't there, you would have probably got into the fiberglass on that one or through the gel. So a lot of guys are moving to the wrap just for protection. But while they go for the protection, well, I might as well advertise the people that are at least giving me discounts, or it's, hey, I like Dan's company. Ring, ring, ring. Dan, can I put my logo on your boat? 3-4 years ago, I said, go for it. As long as it's not title, because I wanted to save title for my team. But now, I mean, I get that call out. Hey, Dan, love the logo. Can I just put it on my wrap? No. If you're on the team, you're all in. I want only my team guys to advertise the company in that regard. If you get a sticker, you get your own carpet decal, whatever, by all means. I love when people like guerrilla market my brand. You know, the more the merrier in that sense. But when I'm going to put my own dollar into it, I want it to be a certain way, look a certain way, have a similar vibe for the company. So it's a part of the marketing scheme. It's not just another logo slapped somewhere. It's got to make sense to me. So that's what I did with a lot of the boat wrap and the jerseys that I promoted for my team over the last 5 or 8 years. But now it's just like the wrap thing. I mean, this year I didn't have a wrap on my boat because I didn't know if I was going to fish or not. I didn't see a real big difference of having my own logo on my boat or not. The only thing I missed about the wrap was the protection. What I didn't miss about the wrap was half the guys didn't know it was me out on the fucking lake anymore. I don't know how many guys like hit me up and be like, was that you out on this lake today, Dan? Like they had no idea. But if I have my wrap on it, everyone notices when I'm out on the lake. So, or in a parking lot. So, to each its own there, but I don't think guys need to go necessarily gun-ho on the boat wrap thing. I think if you're going to wrap anything right now, go wrap your truck, because your truck or your topper gets way more unique views than your boat does, because your boat, you're driving from your house to point B, and then you're on this body of water that only so many people get to see, versus your truck's on the highway here, there. Even when you detach the boat, you're still driving to do errands or go on another trip with your family. That's where the value is. Mobile advertising. Mobile advertising actually equates for more money than social advertising still to this day. So I still don't I'm not condoning don't wrap. I'm still going to wrap my truck and my boat on my next boat, because I do feel there's value in mobile advertising. You just got to be very smart about how you invest it.
I think two things. Like 6 years ago, when those Arsenal wraps were running around like on the Mississippi River, like they were the only wraps that were like fishing local stuff around here.
Yeah.
And now like this year I ran an unwrapped boat on the opens, and I felt like that almost was like, oh, that guy doesn't have a wrap. That actually like is unique. But then
it was no, keep going. Sorry.
So then the other thing I was going to add on to that, so like I don't, my truck's not wrapped, but I put a kind of a pretty good size, like it's not real big, but it's like maybe like a 20-inch by 6-inch HellaBass, just like it's a YouTube square, and it says HellaBass. And I don't know how many times people have pulled up beside me and they'd have my like channel on their phone, awesome. And like so like yeah, like but yeah.
It does help, because even like before I did the wrap, if like I just had the Arsenal stickers on my topper or something, I'll get phone, like you just said, guys would call me driving next to me, be like, hey, I'm driving next to you. That logo's so awesome. Where can I get a sticker? And like just stuff like that. It makes you feel like, okay, this stuff does work, because someone's driving behind you or on the side of you. They get excited that it's a fishing logo. They want to learn it. They're driving and looking it up at the same time. And then they go, well, I want that sticker on my boat. How do I get it? You know, I don't know how many stickers I must have sent out over the years just from that stuff alone. Hey, I saw you on the road. Hey, I saw your truck on the road. Can I get that? How do I get it? So it does work. You just got to be smart how you invest it. And you kind of have to look at your team and be like, what are you guys doing? I'm not just going to wrap the guy that just fishes Tonka every day. I'm not going to wrap the guy or help the guy out with a good check that only does the local smaller circuits or even the local big circuits. You got to be doing something where you're actually going out of state. Okay, you're doing the Toyota series. You're going to do the opens. Maybe I have an elite caliber guy, like, you know, Chet Grigsby's not in the elites, but he's on the other side of the elite caliber side. I mean, he's doing the opens now. He dropped out of MLF, but he's still at that caliber. You know, I think he's won over $2.5 million in his career. That a lot of guys can't say that, but it's guys like that where you're like, okay, I'm going to pour my money into those guys because not only do they have a niche following, but they've had eyes on them for 20 years. So there's some value behind their name as well as their skill set. There's not a lot of guys you can do that to now because almost every dude's like, I'm a winner, pay me. No, unless you start getting some really high momentum behind you and you like are crushing it like Easton Fothergill in the opens and then you're moving to the elites, or like Blake Cap, like dude's awesome. He just won nationals and he's going to go be an elite pro. Those are guys where I'm focused on. I'm looking at their careers and seeing how I can help them. But local guys at a local point, you just can't help as much anymore. I'm still always going to do as much as I can for my local boys and new up and comers in our state, but I got to see where their career is shifting. Are they doing the biggest thing in our state and region, which is Champions Tour? That's getting a lot of eyes, and it's going to have a lot more potential in the next 3 to 5 years, I feel like. So if a guy locally is like, hey man, I'm doing these 3 big ones in state and I'm doing Champ Tour and I have a really big I have momentum to go the distance, I'm gonna have more of an inclination to keep you in my back pocket than versus someone that's just a weekend warrior. And again, I love the weekend warriors too. Gonna keep supporting them, but that's the difference between paycheck and discount, and paycheck and free gear, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And guys need to really understand that now,
And I still think even like let's say Easton Fothergill or whoever's the next rookie of the year AOI on Champions Tour, like catching them is just the first step though. Like if you don't take catching them and turn that into some value, whether that's like, okay, I was the angler of the year on the Champs Tour. I'm going to make sure that I accept all the invites, all 12 invites to the high school teams and go talk to those high school teams and then get my brands out that way. Am I going to like, when Rich calls and says, hey, I want somebody from the Champs Tour as a guest to talk about that, because that's the cool thing in our, like, if you don't accept that and go on that show and like do the things to do it, or like there's still like even Easton Fothergill, like for a brand like Strike King, probably just having Strike King and having him talk about some of the worms is enough. But like a brand like yours where it's like, it's not everywhere. You can't go to every Walmart and Dick's and Academy and buy a bag of tactical minnows. Like just having a brand on the side of the boat's not enough, right? They still have to be able to like move the needle and bring value in another way besides catching them.
So you do a phenomenal job with that. Not only you were behind my product even before I started sponsoring you and putting you on the team, but now you're a guy that really amplifies up and talks about the product. And that's another, going back to the team, that's where a lot of guys do fail in that regard. I'm sponsored, I get the logos, I get the jerseys, I'm just supposed to fish. No, you got to talk about the product and upsell it. That's the whole deal to keep you around. You need to promote and sell the product. And that's another thing though. Most of the customers in the audience now go, oh, it's just another dude upselling gear because he's sponsored by this brand. Yes and no. I mean, if you got sponsored, wouldn't you want to upsell that company that's putting money into you and helping you further your career? And a lot of the guys that jump into like a lot of sponsorships, they're ethically sound and loyally sound, meaning that they didn't just take that sponsorship because there's a paycheck in front of it. They used the product first. They enjoy the product. They sought out that sponsor being like, yo, I've been using your products for 10 years. I love it. I would love to be a part of this family or be a part of this company. And that's what I do with my team too. It's almost every single guy on the team, they have some history behind the product or have some success with our stuff before they jump in and be a part of the team. And that's it has to happen. I don't know how many guys that show up and drop a proposal on my desk and they're just like, hey, I want to help out your company. I need title, I need 10 grand. But they can't tell me any product name. They couldn't tell me a shop where it was available. They couldn't tell me where it is available now. So it's just a bunch of this. And I want to see people actually doing and not this shit anymore. People got to step up to the plate and not stop just sitting in the batter's box swinging all the time. So yeah, a lot of guys need to be really one with the company. And that's what I really do when I build my company. We have I didn't do this whole national pro staff, have 300 dudes on the team, have 100 dudes on the team. We did that the first couple years, and I saw how that was so stupid. And we shrunk that team down to 40. We shrunk that team down to 25. Our team's now about 15 guys, and that's still in my head too much, but it's manageable now for me or a team manager. And then I can really put focus on those guys to make sure they're doing their job, or to move in the next guy that will do their job, or is going to attempt to do the right job. Oh, I see some.
So Gabe Tin Horse Monty, he's a YouTube angler, tournament co-angler. He actually won a BFL regional, won himself a Phoenix.
Oh, cool!
A month ago.
Nice,
but,
congratulations,
so he's
man.
asking, what do you think about YouTube content creators versus pro fishermen as far as ROI?
To be brutally honest here, I'm already seeking more YouTube content creators because, like I said earlier, I can literally put my finger on the pulse of a content creator versus just a pro with the logos going fishing. So what I would like to get is to a really good, like a median mix of the two. I would like Rich is my only real true YouTube content creator that I'm very happy with, but we need 2 or 3 more Riches in a sense. And I'm not trying to like pull that away from Rich, but I know we need that. And then I still want to have the guys that I help out locally and help out nationally. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to do with the pro side of things when the social and the content creators can actually prove their value. So, quick answer, content creators prove it better than a pro athlete right now in my 10 years of running this business.
And I think,
and again, sorry, go for it.
I just think it's like, I don't know, like I'm not pretending I'm like Van Dam or even Chad Grigsby or Easton Fothergill, but I think it's nice. At least I feel good and confident that like I catch them good enough or well enough that it's I don't know, like, so that like if you see me using it, there's enough evidence that like there's a minimum threshold of like this guy is not terrible. He's won a few tournaments. He's got a lot of checks cashed. He's pretty successful. So like if it's good enough for him, then that should be, more proof.
No, you have a strong fishing resume to hold up your YouTube as a content creator. So like when I said like I need a couple more Riches, that's exactly what I need. It's not just the next dude that's got 50,000 followers, because he might not be the right personality, or he might not be that great of an angler. He just has a really good YouTube channel. I don't care about that. I want someone that knows what they're doing in and out of the boat, whether it be a bank fisherman, a kayak fisherman, or, a tournament angler. As long as they know how to back up their own fishing and prove their value through their fishing and their content creating, I think that's the mix that that I'm looking for, at least. And if you're a small business and you're looking for that, that's the mix that you need too, to be successful in your marketing investments.
Credibility was the word that I was searching for in my head.
That's the same word that I was looking forward to. I didn't say it though.
Jose, didn't you just win? Is that you that won the Grand Lake as a co? Or am I misthinking that I thought I saw your name? I'm pretty sure, Jose, I fished with you on Gunnersville, I think, if I remember correctly. Brian thinks he likes your chair. So
thanks. I've even doing this myself. I was not supposed to fish this year in 24. And then I got a little upset because I had to miss the regional that I worked so hard for. Can't fish the regional. Then our state championships on Vermilion, where I love Vermilion. It's my favorite lake. So I was like, I'm going to go up to Vermilion. And so I wanted to prepare and do a little bit of fishing so I could do decently up at Vermilion. So I actually, I had someone else run my club, Lunker Squad, this year, but I still fished almost all my events. I think I fished 5 of my 6 events. Still did top 3 in my club this year, top 3 or top 4. I'm forgetting right now off the top of my head. And I re-qualified through my club for this year, but I wasn't planning on. I'm really happy I did, because it allowed me to like find the fun in fishing again. Like I've been just going so crazy for 10 years, building these 2 brands and trying to get to the top of whatever professional fishing or pro-am fishing you want to call it. it wears on you. And I'm starting to feel, I felt the burn last year where it really was like fucking me up mentally, just the burnout of the business and the burnout of fishing together. It just put me in a bad spot. So I had to really recalibrate this year. And I think just fishing, I only fished like 10 events. I put maybe 50 or 80 hours on the boat instead of 200 hours on the boat. And it felt good. I did, since I was so loosey goosey, I wasn't putting high expectations on myself. I wasn't in Champ Tour. I wasn't in Toyota Series. I just was like, hey, I'm just going to go into some local stuff, bang it out, have fun. And I did different things too, since I was like, I don't care what happens. Let's go throw a frog that you never throw in tournaments. Let's go back to throwing a jig that you haven't thrown in 6 years. So I got rid of the finessey crap most of the time. Went back to some old school tactics, rich tactics, you could say, jig and frog. And I threw the damn fucking whopper plopper this year that co-anglers beat me on all the time. So this year was frog, whopper plopper, and jig mostly. And I weighed some of my best bags in practice, best bags in tournaments. I actually had a good tournament year for the 12 tournaments or the 10 tournaments I fished this year, doing shit I never do and being loose. So it kind of gave me that feeling. It's kind of what I want to do moving forward. And at my age, I'm 38, pushing 40 here in a couple of years. I'm thinking about building a family soon. And when I build a family, my time's going to get reduced greatly. So I think I can't fish 45 or 50 events a year anymore. And doing the 12 this year, it was like, wow, that was a big cut, but it didn't even feel like a cut. It felt like I was still fishing all the time. It made me think, how the hell did I do 40 events with practicing? Because I'm a practice nut. I want to practice at least 2 or 3 times for any event, no matter if it's a clubber. I'm in a nut like that. I want to figure it out. I want to dial it in. So, but bringing it back this year really let me focus on where I want the company to go. And I was really trying to push it this year, trying to like smash all of 23 and beginning of 24 into 24 to have a big 24. But I knew I was rushing it. So I just kind of pulled it on the back burner this year and said, hey, we're going to slow roll 24 again to build it up to have a really big 25. And that's what we're doing. I spent money into actual advertising and marketing. That's all going to get we're all promoting and putting it out. I think in the 1st of January or the first week of January, we got Instagram, TikTok, YouTube commercials, advertisements, paid stuff that we've never put $1 into. So I can imagine what's really going to happen once we actually put a couple bucks into this stuff, because Arsenal's been word of mouth and local sponsorship since the inception in 2014. So it's going to be a world of a difference this year, actually putting real money into real advertising avenues instead of just team avenues and, local tournament sponsorship and local high school sponsorship. So it's a lot of fun stuff. And I've been working hard to get my buddy that I grew up filming. I was a videographer before I got into all this, and just don't have the time to really make the video stuff or the ad stuff that I want. So I got a buddy that's a big bass fisherman down south in Mankato, New Ulm area. And now he's finally on board, and we put together our first commercial for the company. And this is maybe probably a good time to show it, Rich, right? Talking about it?
Sure.
Yeah.
So you ready?
Yeah, well, I'll talk about before I say let's play it. Let me just get a little intro. My buddy Bobby Farber, he lives down in New Ulm. I've known this dude since I was 15 years old. We were rollerblading together. Bobby crushed me on the blades. He was incredible. But we both were he was the down south filmer for the down south groups. I was the Minneapolis and northern filmer. But we also shared footage. We gave a lot of the city boys exposure for the southern videos, and the southern boys gave exposure for the northern boys, kind of like what we do here in the fishing industry, honestly. But Bobby was a huge influence and a big help growing up with the videography stuff. And we kind of reconnected about 8 years ago, and he told me that he was just getting back into bass fishing, and he liked it as a kid too. But he comes out and we do like maybe a couple GoPro fun videos that you can see on our YouTube channel. You go Arsenal Fishing on YouTube. We do have some fun videos that Bobby and I filmed together. But it's been hard to like get him to do the stuff that we always talk about because he's got his own family, his own life. He does wedding videos for a living and other like just small business commercials. And he's just been so sucked into that. He's been trying to like get out of that wedding niche and get into like outdoor companies, whether it be a hunting or a Moto X company or a fishing company. But I'm trying to give Bobby some shine now and hire him to do some of the stuff because he's cream of the crop. You know, he does stuff better than some of the guys that are filming the Garmin ads or Rapple ads. Like he could do any of that stuff. He's just, no one knows that he's available for it. So if you're in the market for some good commercials and advertising work for your small business, Bobby's the guy to hit up. Give me a shout and I'll link you with him. Whether you have a construction company, fishing brand, a roofing company, a real estate company, a tattoo parlor, whatever it is, dude does all of that stuff and he knocks it out of the park every time. So we might as well show you this. We've been working on this ad for, I don't know, we did 2 different like film sessions with our pros in the boat in September and October. Me and Bobby have been going back on the edit for the last, I would say 3 weeks. First time I had to hire a voiceover actor to do it. So we actually put some real money into this. It's a 2-minute spot. So it's a little longer than like your normal ad you see somewhere, but it will be like our first commercial that we'll probably put on like you in between YouTube channels. It'll probably go on our Amazon store that's getting released in the next, I'd say the next couple days to the end of next week. We'll have our first official Amazon store out. So that will be the 2-minute spot, but then we'll condense it down to 30, 45-second spots for, like I said, all the social stuff. So yeah, let's give everyone like the first, I guess, premiere of the first like ever Arsenal commercial. It's kind of crazy
Fishing
to say.
hopes that I'm a model in the commercial, just for the record.
We tried. It didn't happen. He'll have to be on the next one.
Brian says it's gonna be cool. He's excited.
Bleed green. We've been underground and silent for too long, training our assassins, testing our tools. No gimmicks or copycats over here, just pure ingenuity. Over a decade of quality, tournament, innovations, crafted to perform, designed to perfection, engineered for the grind, to outlast the elements. And we put in the hours so you can chase the dream. Weekend warrior to seasoned pro, doesn't matter, we got you covered. Concepts driven on feedback and professional experience. Every cast is a calculation, every reel is a victory, and the never-ending hunt for that next big bite. From the bank to the boat, Arsenal Fishing is built to fit seamlessly into your lifestyle, providing the reliability and performance you need to enjoy your passion. For those who push the limits, for those who live to fish, we made this all for you. Arsenal Fishing, tournament tested, grandfather approved.
Bada bing.
There's your world premiere.
That's awesome, dude. It's kind of cool to see it like not on my computer screen, like the 100th millionth time. So that's cool.
The chat seems to like it. So
yeah, man. I mean, that was the whole point, is to like really kind of build our story and get that out to the world. We're trying to really revamp the brand, re-image the brand this year. And like the best way to do that is with the media stuff, the video content, the commercials. We're really going to try to amplify our YouTube channel this year. I hired my first hire. Well, it'll be my second hire ever, but I hired someone like full-time this year, a college kid up north. His name's Luke, and he's done a phenomenal job helping with our social media this year. And then he works for Champs Tour. He does a lot of the multimedia with Champs Tour and Bartusic Media, but he'll be doing a lot of that stuff for us this year and moving forward. So we're really excited to like just give it more of like that social and content creator feel this year, because that's what we need to amplify the company into like the trajectory that we're there. Like if I hear anyone say again, "Hey Dan, you seem like a big company. Why are you still here?" I'm going to blow my lid, because that's like the number one thing I hear seems like every week, every month. Someone thinks that we have this huge facility with 50 employees. And it's like, dude, I'm still in my house. All the inventory is in the basement and in the garage. We don't have any more room for it. So we're like on the threshold of moving out, getting our own first warehouse, getting our own office space, actually having employment of maybe 4 or 5 people in the next year or two, like actually building this into the company where I've had vision for many, many years. But it's been a slow roll, a slow grind, but that slow roll, I'm done with it. We got to really pop it into the stratosphere in 2025 and 2026 to make this my vision a reality. So got to get the right people behind it, got to get the right team behind it this year. And, hopefully I can do some damage being on the road, getting into new retailers this year, hopefully some distribution. I'm praying I get back into Champions Tour this year so I can help market on the tour. And like half of the team that I do help out, most of those guys are on the Champions Tour as well. So I want to be beside those guys this year on tour. So we'll see how this year plays out with what I'm going to do with my own fishing. I got to sell the boat to get a new boat. So there's a lot going on in my world, but it'll all work out. It always does. But
what if my name's
excited.
on the list ahead of yours on Champs Tour and I take your spot?
Oof, that would be upsetting, but then I'll have to wrap your boat. I'll probably have to force you to wrap your boat if that happens.
We can work something out. So one thing the commercial and the videography reminds me is like, so, going back to that conversation of like, how do you provide value, right? Like, so there's a lot of different ways. And I think one of the underrated ways that people can create value, you don't necessarily have to, one of the things that most people see is like pushing their own socials, like doing their own Instagram, but like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like even somebody that can like just take good photos and get you good like video clips, it doesn't even have to be like talking head, but like could just be like set up a camera, get a bait rigging, get some really high quality photos of like your chatterbait set up with an Arsenal trailer, or your minnow bag, right, with like in the Arsenal bag, and just get like photos that you and Luke can use on your Instagram, that they can use in your TikTok, you know what I mean? Like just providing you with that content that you can use how you want can actually be a really good value. And I don't think a lot of people realize that.
You're exactly right. So like, I push that on all the guys when they sign their contracts every year, whether they do that line on the contract or not, that's up to them. What I'm finding out with a lot of the guys on the team is they just want to fish, man. At the end of the day, It's like they get overwhelmed with wanting to show up to photo shoots or video shoots, or they just want to rock the logo on the jersey and the boat and go fishing. And they even struggle with like let's say for Champs Tour, and you got Bart in the boat and you're leading, you're in top 10, you got a camera in your boat. These guys struggle to just even talk about the stuff that they're fishing. Even if it's not even my stuff, it's just hard to hear them even talk about what they're doing. And it's like everyone's so silent nowadays because they want the upper hand on, I don't want anyone else to know what I'm doing. But if you want the paycheck, do you want to get the paycheck the next year? You want people to actually help, progress your company. You got to start telling the tips and the tricks. And like what you said, we need to, people need to just do more video and photo work that looks good. It doesn't necessarily need to be chopped up and edited. Just have the team promoting good quality content even without their face in it or even talking points. And like we have a couple guys like Casey Earlert from Bass Brawls Outdoors. He'll do that on the team. Like we have a Dropbox with Casey, and so when Casey goes out and does all of his filming for his own career, he'll at least take some time out of his day to send me a bunch of photos of gear on his boat that he's using that day. He's going to make a flipping video. Well, he's going to send me a whole bunch of photos of the maybe a flipping tungsten weight or Vader punch rig or the assault bug, and make it look good so we can utilize that on social media posts or whatever we end up doing with it. But at least
or an Excalibur pliers way down the throat of a giant northern pike getting your chatterbait out. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. And I'll raise my hand right now and say I was really bad at that over the last 10 years because I started doing that my first 4 or 5 years, just showing everything. Anytime a new product came in, I just wanted to show the world and post it all week long. But then I would start getting comments where people would be like, I'm sick of seeing this. This is enough. And I guess the comments just got to me like an old guy. And I was just like, I'm going to do this old school. I'm not going to like force feed anything down people's throats. But honestly, you have to do that because if I'm not doing it, I have 700 competitors out there force feeding product ads on Facebook and Instagram with very comparable products that are outselling me because again, they're showing up in feeds constantly every single day, not necessarily on a personal Facebook channel, but like they're actually paying for like the Facebook and Instagram ads and showing what you're saying, like how just threading on a soft plastic onto this hook and showing the variations of what you can do with this bait. So a lot of that stuff, tutorial stuff, just bait rigging, we're going to have a ton of that this year along with our ads too. So we're trying to really amplify up our YouTube channel to have whatever. I'm not going to care about what other people think and all the comments of like, I don't care if this is a paid sponsorship ad or what. I want people to see what we got and what we can present to the world. We have a lot of cool stuff. And like we said in the commercial, we've just been underground and silent for too long. We're too much of we look like a big brand, but we're such an underground company. And I'm just done with it. So like, we're now trying to jump it to the next step. And that's with, hey, everyone's got to see what we're capable of. Everyone's got to see what's really on our menu. So we're gonna give everyone what they've been asking for now. So we'll see what happens.
We got to report the wild one tonight. So there you go.
Nice, good. That's a good report. Thank you.
So you kind of talked about like competitors and things like that. Like what? Obviously, you kind of touched on it earlier. Like you spend a lot of time developing products, evolving your own products, right? Like one of the things that like this year, like you kind of I don't know if you can see this, but you brought back the wacky tool, right? And you added this notch like otherwise, I mean, maybe the green on the handle changed a little bit, but like this is a product that we're great, for adding the wacky shields on your Nico rigs and things like that. But then a simple little thing, right? You added this notch so that if somebody's still got old O-rings, they can still use the pliers for the O-rings or the clear bands, right? So like even just modifying and evolving your own products, but like what's it like trying to bring products to the market and competition and maybe talk about some of that?
It's tough, and I've stayed silent on this for so long just because it's such a touchy subject. We saw a lot of this happen with Guggen baits and Sixth Sense, and just like Guggen overall kind of like got the whole industry in a chatter about being like a copycat company, and they really amplified up really quickly, like looking at the best products in the industry and literally just copycatting them, putting maybe a new eye in a crankbait, but the crankbait is the same exact mold or whatever. So you got to figure out how to differentiate your products and your branding, even if it's something similar. Redesign it in your own eye and like from your own vision. And that's where a lot of people kind of lose that. So like, let's just go back to the wacky tool. Like that was an idea that was brought to me from Hayden Anderson, who's been on the team since like year 2 or 3. Hayden's been a long time team member, but he came to me. He's like, I have this great concept for wacky or for Nico rigging, because Nico rigging had just come out from Japan or at least hit the States, and he came up with this idea to use like cutting up, tubing and then finding a type of device that can actually expand it. He showed me all this, and I was like, dude, let's figure out how to make this and utilize this, like find this medical tool and repurpose it for the fishing industry. And yes, if you're punch fishing, and I've seen him talk about this, you could just buy the medical tubing and cut it up yourself, and you can go buy the medical plier on Amazon for half the price. Go do it. But you're also helping support someone that's trying to build up not only the industry, but the local industry. And when you look at the local industry, I'm sponsoring people within the local market and trying to help them build a career. Maybe give them put a little bit of money in their pocket as well. But there's a lot of guys that want to cut corners when they see a new product and kind of reverse engineer it and say, well, you didn't really do too much. Well, that's a lot of products out there. Most of these storage bags, guys looked at a Ziploc bag and said, well, we're putting all of our stuff in a Ziploc bag. Can we just repurpose another bag and make it a little bit better and to do the same thing? So you just have to look at things from a different point of view. And a lot of times it's fine, but just make it in your own regard. So like with that tool, the tool did very well. And then what happened? We had that for 3 years. And then Rapala came out with their crossover pliers. And that was a tough pill to swallow, actually, because Rapala then went out and won an ICAST award on that tool. Well, we had that tool out for 3 years prior to theirs. Like, yes, I never made it down to ICAST myself, but it's a hard pill to swallow when Hayden and I developed this idea, brought it to market, made it a bestseller at Tackle Warehouse, and it's been a bestseller for a couple of years now, and the stealth tubes that go along with it, just to get a big conglomerate like Rapala to come in, see it, oh, dude, this guy's got a cool little idea. Let's remake it. All right, but the thing is, this is how I look at it. Tough pill to swallow, but they remade it in their own vision.
Right.
They made it out of plastic. They didn't just go buy the same thing that I did and put a different color grip on the handle and put their logo on it. They went out and said, okay, we're going to remake this. We're going to make it out of plastic. We're going to have this little holder so you can hold some of the bands inside of it. We're going to put a spring instead of a suspension system in it. They did their own thing. I can't get mad at them for it. I have no legal standpoint here with that. They did their own thing. Sucks, but they did their own thing. And now people have that option because now there's options in the industry. You need competition in this world. Even if you're just the only one for a while, that's great. But competition does bring people back because I've seen that firsthand with this tool. So our sales dipped on that tool as the year the crossover plier came out. Our sales started dipping back up the last 2 years because people that bought the crossover pliers are moving back and buying the Arsenal tool because it's made out of plastic, guys. You step on that thing in your boat, you're going to break that tool. That spring is a normal shitty little spring that's going to pop out eventually, or the little plastic knob that holding in that spring is eventually going to break
the
on you.
bands cost more than the worms you're trying to save.
Exactly. The VMC bands or the other brand that has some bands from Japan, you're buying 10 bands for $10.99 or $9.99, where I'm giving value to people because I could dick over all you guys and say, hey, we're going to up our stealth tubes to $15.99 for 50 pieces. That's still actually a great value. People will buy it. But we sell them for what? $6.99, $7.99 for 50 pieces. So it's a convenience. Like, so for someone to say, hey, I could just go buy a bunch of this medical tubing and cut it up. Well, go do it. Then you got to go find some place to find the right millimeter of tubing for each of the sizes. You're going to probably have to do a lot of trial and error and waste money on buying a bunch of different medical tubing. Then you're going to have to cut it up and spend time doing that too. So, I mean, like, there's a convenience of us charging you $7 for 50 pieces instead of you going out and wasting your time locating the tubing and doing whatever. But like, I lost customers also because a lot of OG guys that were still using the black O-ring to do wacky rigging, they don't like the tubing for whatever reason. They think it's more visible than the black silicone ring. I lost a lot of guys because they said, hey, I still want to use your pliers, but the O-ring keeps slipping off the nose of the pliers. So a longtime pro, Chad Grigsby, who's on our team, he came to me one day. He's like, damn, why don't you just put little grooves in the side of the nose so I can keep using my damn O-rings? And so I was like, All right, on the next, there you go. So on the next batch, I was like, Chad, I'm going to listen to my team. I'm going to listen to the feedback from other customers. I'm going to make this change so other people happy and other people get on board, you know? And so we did that this year. A lot of people don't know because it's not really listed on the new on the old packaging. On the next packaging, we're going to have to add that to the packaging. But it's small little nuances like that we're like, hey, we had a good product and it sold well for 5 years, but now we need to change it and reevaluate just a little bit to make it sell even better moving forward. And then Rich kind of tipped on to the legacy bags and the storage bags and how so many people in our industry are on similar products like that. And how do you differentiate yourself from the next person, or what happens when someone starts designing the same exact product as you, and what do you have any footing here? Is there any legality here? Like, what do you do about it? It's a good question, and it's one that like I'm fighting all the time, just like the Guggen stuff, where it was just such a copycat company. There's other companies out there that are doing the same exact thing that Guggen's is. They're like looking at the Guggen playbook of like, hey, look at Guggen's. They went from here to here so quickly. We all know that they're having issues now, but they went from here to here so quickly. The dude that started the company made his big money and walked out. He doesn't have a care about anything that's in the company anymore anyways. But I'm just not that copycat company. If I see a product that I want to do, it's because I'm making it better than that company's product that I had that was failing on me. Or I had 60 people be like, dude, this is a good product, but it sucks in these regards. Can you make it better? Can you make it more diverse? And that's how I go about creating and engineering new products, is looking at something that may be discontinued and it's not on the shelf anymore and bring it back to life, or looking at something like those storage bags that first came out like 6 or 7 years ago after Bass Mafia kind of was the only company to have like storage bags. They had those big money bags. And then I think Dio was the second one. Like literally, it was money bags and Tackle Warehouse. I kind of go off Tackle Warehouse as like an industry standard because they've been around the longest as an online retailer. They have the most inventory and they have the most brands. So when I look at stuff like that, that's where I do the most of my research. What does Tackle Warehouse have? What does Fish USA have? What does Sportsman Warehouse have? And make sure what the brands that they have, what I'm not stepping on toes. And if I am coming out with a product, how do I make it different? So when I saw the Bass Mafia bag, no one was really like competing with it for many years, even though people were still using Ziploc bags in every boat I would go into. Guys were still using Ziploc bags and cursing their lives over it. Then Daiwa came out with a bag that looked similar. It had a zip top, just a normal like polymer bag with a zipper on it. And it had, had a green zipper on it. So I bought it because I'm a green guy. And then KVD had some bags. So there's only 3 companies before we made our legacy bags. What were you going to say, Rich? Sorry.
No.
Oh, nothing? Okay. So what I ended up doing is like I bought a bunch of those Daiwa bags, and I took a wave one day on my back deck on Pokegama, and it filled up both of my back compartments in my Triton. And when I got off the water that day, all of the Daiwa bags were full of water with all my chicken rigs and all this tungsten, all this brand new tungsten I had to pull everything out and dry it. And I was so mad because I thought these things would be at least some type of water resistant, and they weren't at all. I go, that's it. I'm making a better bag than this. This is a piece of shit. I like Daiwa products, but this bag was a piece of shit. And so I was like, how do we make this actually waterproof and not water resistant? So I went on the hunt for years on overseas, working with suppliers, trial and error, going through various different plastics and thermal polymers, whatever, rubbers, anything that I could put my hands on that I could test in office, testing out in the elements until we got like a good feedback from the team and myself to say, okay, this is standing up to snuff. People aren't going to have problems like they had with these 3 other bags that are available in Tackle Warehouse right now. So when I came to Tackle Warehouse and said, here's my new bag, it looks different than everyone else's, and it has features that no one else has, but the price is a lot higher. Dan, why are we going to buy your bag? Okay. and I send it to Tackle Warehouse, and immediately once Tackle Warehouse had it in their hands and got to experience it, they understood why. Oh, this is the only true waterproof bag. This isn't water resistant. This is airproof and waterproof. Okay, this could actually go under our waterproof storage category as well. So like even when you go to Tackle Warehouse now, almost every bag is just, it might say waterproof under storage, but it's water resistant. We're truly the only waterproof and airproof bag out there, and that's because we did specific technologies to it in the without seams, without thread, because even if you have thread in these great materials, water still seeps through a seam and goes through the seam and then goes back into the bag. It might be a slow leak, but you're still going to get water in those bags. It's the same with waterproofing clothing, with all this water. Not everything is waterproof. It's more water resistant with coatings that repel water better. So that was the whole ticket for that bag, is to make it actually waterproof. And that bag, if it locks into place, it's water and smell proof, airproof. You can throw it in the lake, even with it full of 20, 30 bags of plastic. It's still going to float. You can actually dive down with it 40 feet before the damn thing pops, so we looked into the research before we actually put it to market. And that's what I pride myself in, is looking for the best quality, doing the good quality control work, doing a lot of the good testing. So we know it's fresh and right for market. And do we update stuff as we go along? Absolutely. Those the ropes for the zippers, they broke off on a lot of customers. I'm man enough to say that right now. But we now have T handles that are built into the actual bag, so you can't rip out that rope anymore. And I don't know if Rich has one of those right there. He might have one of the older bags with him right now. But
this is the new T.
Yeah, so there's a new T handle, and it's it has the Arsenal logo. It's a nice rubber. It's got metal throughout the whole T handle, so you're not going to bend it out or anything like that. But it's small advancements like that every year from feedback from our customers. We listen to everything our customers say, even if we don't get back to you. And I want to say that even if I'm bad at getting back to people on a voicemail or even on an email response, I read everything. I listen to everything. I take notes on everything, because it's very important to make the company shine the correct way and to give the right customer service to everybody. But it's tough lately because I work my ass off. I'm building like a product like the Legacy bag just for a company down in Texas right now to completely steal my idea and completely it's not just the idea, because the idea of a water resistant tackle bag, there's, like we said, go to Tackle Warehouse right now, there's like 25 of them. All right. So but when a company steals your actual design, that's a problem for me now. And like that's what's starting to happen more and more, is people just putting their brand logo on your item because they make it overseas and think that you don't have the power or the ability to figure it all out, to figure out where they got it manufactured. I've been doing outsourcing since I was 15 years old, dude. I've been building my companies over in China and the Philippines and Japan and Germany since I was 15 years old. So I have I know what I'm fucking doing over there. So when I found that this company stole our bags recently, you guys can see their ads every day. Live Fishing, LIV Fishing. I'm calling them out. I even talked to their owner 2 weeks ago. I put them over the coals because I'm sick of seeing stuff get copied so much, not even from other brands, but now people are doing it to my brand, and it's insulting. It's degrading to how much time, effort I put into developing that bag. And so I got that guy on the phone after seeing his damn Instagram ad saying he's got the best bag on the market, blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, do you know how many people commented on that or tagged me in it saying, Dan, isn't that your bag? Did you license your design to that company? And I'm like, no, I don't want to have any licenses going right now. And that is my bag, but it has their logo on it. And the difference, what I'm saying here is, you go to Tackle Warehouse and you're going to look at 20 different storage units. They all look different though. Everyone's got their logo in a specific area. Some guys print their logo on the bag. Some guys put a rubber logo stitched in it. Some guys have it embroidered, whatever it is. But they all look different. They're all sized different. They're for their brand. But then Liv comes out, has the same size bags as both of my bags, has the same canvas border trimming, has the same black canvas on the top, contrast stitching around the whole thing, rubber logo in the middle. I mean, I didn't even catch it. I had customers and followers and teammates, link me before I saw it first. So it's like other people were looking out for me. Other people that are customers and like this product were thinking, hey, did you sell the company? Did you license the company? And like, I let it slide for a whole year. I was like, I'm not going to let this bother me. I'm not going to get irate about this. I'm just going to maintain course and keep putting out good product. And what did we do in 23 to 24 is I built another product that's similar to a lot of products out there, which was our Seiko lure wraps. And it's a catchless lure wrap. So there's no thread on the entire thing except for the stitching of the Velcro, where your hooks will never see it anyways. And on the back side of that stitching, it's actually heat welded, so you do not see that stitching. So it's truly a catchless lure wrap. And every lure wrap out there right now, there's threading all over it. They got canvas edges. It's made out in neoprene. There's stitching on the borders. There's stitching on, however it's held together. They look nice and they still can do the job, but if you catch one of those threads, you catch the stitching, you're still fighting to rip it out in the heat of the moment. You're maybe cutting it in half just to get it out because you need to make that quick cast when you're, again, in the heat of the moment. So I reversed engineered that stuff. I like the size of another company. I made a similar size, but I made it in a completely different, category of thought. Hey, let's make this actually catchless for once, because I'm sick of ruining the Rapala ones I buy, the Raw Glove ones I buy, the 6th Sense ones I tried. Any one that I tried, I was still cutting hooks out of them. And even if I pop through the material that we made for these, it doesn't get caught on anything. You can just pop it right back through our material. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You're not ruining the wrap. You might pop the hole through it. Still works just fine. But that company, Liv, this year just put out a new ad just like 3 weeks ago, making a lure wrap, claiming it was catchless, and it looks identical again, identical to what we just created. And
didn't they even use the same verbiage from your description? I swear this company is literally pulling the descriptions off my website and using it for the verbiage of their like TikTok videos and stuff. So it's just been super insulting. And I finally got to a point where I had to call this guy up. They're out of Texas. You guys can look them up. Live Fishing, cool company, copycat company. I'm just going to say that. Called this guy out, and he had the audacity to like say, hey, I don't know what your company is. I don't know who you are. It's like, dude, I've seen the amount of comments under your ads. You know damn well that you're looking at, the engagement of your ads when you're paying money for these ads. You're looking at the comments, you're deleting comments, you're viewing comments. I know what you're doing. So he kind of denied that he even knew what my company was or what the products we make, to instantly going on my website and calling me out for being a copycat company, and then kind of backpedaling and saying, well, our bags aren't even as good as yours. Ours aren't even waterproof, Dan. Ours are made out of a different material. We still use the rope handle. So why are you getting mad at this? It's like, hey, dude, I didn't even come at this guy in like a really legal way. I came at him as a straight, honest, small business owner and said, I'm not trying to cease and desist you. I'm allowing you to sell this copycat product. I'm just asking you, moving forward on all of your new productions, to change these products in your own vision. Brand them in your own light. This cannot look like my bag. I had to literally walk him through how I developed this bag at this vision and how I designed it back in 2017, 2018. I have the Illustrator files that still are stamped from 17 or 18 when I made these designs on these computers. And then the guy said he had the audacity that he didn't copy and he doesn't know how these designs look like identical. I said, dude, go to Tackle Warehouse, go to anywhere. Our bags look identical. Every other bag out there looks different. I know you copied it. Stop lying to me. He kept lying to me.
And then once I finally said, hey man, I found the factory over in China that you are making these bags at. They literally told me with picture evidence that my bag, I didn't ship, was shipped to their factory to be reverse engineered to be made just like my bag. So he didn't have anything to say after that. After I called him out on that, he just said, look, I don't do the design work in my company. I have a design team that does everything. Dude, you're a small business out of Texas. Your dad and you and your father run the business from my research and from talking around the industry. You have your hand probably on everything that comes in and out of that company. So I don't want to hear it. Like I'm just telling you right now, make things in your own regard. He even came back and said this to me too, which was crazy. So it makes me know that he's copying the cool products of our industry right now. He goes, yeah, we get a lot of feedback that our rod sleeves are just like 6 cents. Let's pause right here. Who is the first company right now to bring out the neoprene rod sleeve? 6 cents. So when you think about that and backpedal on the product and when things were produced in our industry, I have a keen eye and I look at all the products that come out in our industry, kind of put a timeline to everything because I'm in that accessory market as well. You even said that, hey, everyone thinks that we have the same thing as 6 cents. Well, you do. You just put your logo in a different location on it. And you know how many times I have suppliers that come to me that want me to make that same neoprene rod sleeve now? I get that once a month from a supplier overseas that wants me to make that. But I don't, because not only do I don't know how to make it better in my own vision just yet, but I don't want to compete with a really cool company like 6 cents or Live Fishing, like, because they got that going for them right now. I would rather come up with products that are way more innovative than that, or stuff that I get feedback from customers that are saying, if I had this product, it would elevate my fishing or it would elevate my organizational skills to make me a more efficient angler. And that's what I want to do right now. I'm not in it to copy something. And I think one of the things he came back on me that kind of like stuck me, but I had to explain to him was he's like, well, you just stole the AccuCall bag. Your bag looks just like the AccuCall bag. And I was like, valid point. You know what? Valid point. It looks like the AccuCall bag. Why? Because we use the same handle as AccuCall. Why did I use the same handle as AccuCall? Because we had a weigh bag out in Tackle Warehouse since 2015. We went through various handles, various features that all failed. We discontinued the bag after 4 years because we had so much warranty. We had to reimburse so many people via warranty or refunds that I was like, before I come out with another weigh bag, it's got to be the best bag. And there are some features of the weigh bag that worked very well for us in the beginning and some features that didn't. The two things that I wanted to change was the overall composition of the outside shell of the bag, and then also change how the handle system. So the handle system, making it square, making it actually a part of the bag, it's never going to rip. There's no secondary parts. There's no secondary stitching. That's where I took 10% of someone else's idea and added it to my 90% creativity. And the rest of the bag is all different. The bag might be black, but it is way bigger than the AccuCall bag. I still don't know why they have such a small bag when guys are bringing in 30-pound sacks nowadays. You need more water to help out the health of the fish. It's point blank. So our bag holds a lot more gallons of water. And then also it's triple ply. You got an outer shell, an inner membrane, and an inner, like a middle membrane and an inner membrane. And then we also wrap it with military grade canvas on the outside. So when you do lay it on the ground, you're not breaking the corners up after two events. I mean, I've seen the AccuCall bags at all these events, Toyota Series, Champions Tours, Minnesota Bass Nation events. Even this year, like Minnesota Bass Nation used the AccuCall bags because my Arsenal bags were being used at a different event at the same time. I was watching every AccuCall bag leak going up to the tank, every single one. I'm looking at that stuff because this is what I'm about. So, but then when I go to every other event and see my bags used, there's not a drop coming out of the corners unless it was from the bag being wet on the outside of the outer shell. So I know I went above and beyond with not only just making it better, but putting in quality in every aspect of the actual product, and listening to customer feedback. That's everything. So it was tough. I never like stepped to another person in our industry or spoke my piece, but I hope I got through the guy. The last part of our conversation was him saying, I'll work with my design team to make sure that they do more research when we develop new products, so we're not stepping on the toes of others. He tried to at least have that type of conversation with me and being like, hey, I'm going to try to respect what you're saying here, and I'm going to do better. So now it's on this guy in my head, in my vision, hey, to look at what he's going to do in the next 6 months, 12 months, and see if he actually changes up what I brought up to him, So time will tell, but it's not going to stop me from continuously making new products and developing new products moving forward. I have a lot in the pocket right now too, and we're doing some stuff for another part of the industry that we can get into. But I know I've just been ranting again for like probably another 15 minutes. So I want Rich. You can always shut me up, bro.
To get that Black Friday code out. But yeah, so you're kind of, I don't know, like you've been all bass fishing, all basically freshwater bass fishing, like really. I mean, obviously you can use a pliers to take a hook out of a walleye's mouth. You could put your fireball jig heads in your curly tail walleye plastics, but like obviously your branding has really been focused on bass fishing. But so are you getting into expanding, pivoting, looking at something outside of bass fishing, or?
Well, I'm not. It's always going to be a bass fishing company at heart, but we are definitely going to like introduce different species moving forward in 25 and 26 in our marketing campaigns. So we're definitely going to show more panfish and walleye and muskie if we can. Like muskie is kind of on the back burner, but we're definitely going to do the panfish and walleye kind of stuff for sure, because there is a big market for walleye, especially in our region, and there's a lot of panfishers out there that want. Yeah, sorry, I see people pop up things and I get excited to read it. So we are going to dabble into that stuff. But one thing that people have asked me for years and years is, get into ice fishing, Dan. We want to see ice fishing products. And I've never entertained that notion of ice fishing in all of my years. I've never done it. And we all know with Minnesota, it's like our winters are just smaller and smaller. So that ice window here hasn't been as good, so the ice fishing market's not that great. So when you hear what I'm about to say, you're going to go, what the fuck, Dan? But the ice fishing industry in a whole, not just in Minnesota, it's a very still big booming industry where the ice fishing industry has figured out like, hey, we only need to make this much product for our 4 or 6 months, but we always sell it out. Or we get really close to selling it out, and then we can kind of push that last 10 or 15% out of the market in the bad months. But again, I never entertained it, even with people saying, "Hey, make some ice fishing jigs. You can do the tungsten stuff." Blah blah blah. I didn't want to do it, but we got a group in our state in it's Adam Bartusik, Matt Waldron, Pink, and Adam Griffith. I think this is the 4 guys, and they've been doing the Crappie Chronicles. They have their own big YouTube channel. Go check them out, the Crappie Chronicles. And I've been doing all their branding, since I also do a lot of graphic work and video work too. So I've done all the graphic design stuff for all the Crappie Chronicles stuff, all the animation stuff. But every year I've seen their channel exponentially grow. Anytime we make product for Crappie Chronicles, it sells out really fast, really easily. And then when I look at the industry, there's not a lot of competition. There's a lot of actually avenues for growth if you just look outside of our local region. If you looked at, hey, there's ice fishing way up north that stays, the way up north, 8 hours, Red Lake and Rainy and all that stuff up there. Yeah, that stuff stays
ice fishing like
for
the mountains in New Mexico. Like people don't think about that, but
yes.
like the mountains of New
Alaska
Mexico, like
too, Canada.
State, yeah.
Yeah, so there's so much more ice fishing than just Minnesota and Wisconsin and Montana and Michigan. You got a lot of other areas in the world that still need ice fishing supplies, but there's only this many ice fishing companies. So Bart and the boys have been begging me for like 2 years to get into it. And I finally entertained the idea this year, sat down with all of them, and they really wanted me to make a department called Arsenal Ice. So, I mean, Bart told me tonight I can leak this to everyone. So I'm leaking it now. We're working on Arsenal Ice, and we got a small, cool, intimate line of hooded sweatshirts and beanies and winter apparel coming out, I think, right before I leave to Florida. So it's going to be like mid-December. We should have all the new cool Arsenal Ice gear. I wish I had the logo to show you right now, but I don't. But we made a specific logo with a mascot. Fucking awesome, and we're really excited to show the world this stuff because we put in some time and some thought with all of it, and we'll have a really cool trending brand for the ice fishing industry finally. And we're not doing tackle. We're not there. There's plenty of mom and pop companies that are making ice fishing tackle. I'm specifically just doing accessories and clothing and high end apparel for the ice industry. And so I'm really excited about that because these boys have brought a lot of really cool accessory products to the bigger companies, and these bigger companies have shot them down over the years. I'm not going to name names on these ones, but these companies have shot the boys down for many years or offered them peanuts, pennies on the dollar for these really cool ideas that can make these companies, I don't want to say a lot of money, but some good money, or at least enough money to roll into another product and then streamline a whole category of products, or really build up a brand in like a different avenue. Like, these companies just money hungry, they're greedy. And that's why Bart and the boys came to me and said, Dan, you're the only guy locally that makes cool accessories, makes cool logos and trending products. How can we all work together? And so we sat down and figured out something that can work for the five of us, where I can let those guys take care of Arsenal Ice. I'll be the designer, I'll be the marketeer, I'll be the money man for it, but I want those guys to really put in their knowledge and all the time that they've built into their ice fishing careers and their ice fishing companies, and kind of mold that into Arsenal Ice. And if everything goes pretty well with our soft launch of the clothing side of it this year, starting in December, and it goes really well this year, then we're going to really put in a significant amount of money into developing cool accessories, specific tackle boxes, or organizational tools that ice fishing has never seen yet, or tools that are very antiquated, that guys are using the same tool for the last 50 years. There's no competition with it, but we're going to modernize it and revolutionize that tool. And so I'm really excited because I get to use my engineering brain and look at these old concepts and make it our own. Like I say, we're going to look at something that's successful, but it's been dormant for a while and it's not that cool anymore, or everyone's got it, but they all go, I wish this did this, this, and this. Well, we're going to do it. We're going to finally do it. So look out really soon. The next 3-4 weeks, there should be a category on the Amazon store called ice gear. You go to the website, arsenalfishing.com. There should be a category now on the website that says ice, and you'll see all the new ice clothing products available. And you're going to be able to see all of the boys on Crappie Chronicles on all their new episodes this year. They're going to be rocking it. They're going to be at the ice show supporting it and promoting it. So if you see Bart, you see Pink, you see Griffith, you see Waldron, hit them up, ask them every question you possibly can about it. Get them excited about it as much as we're excited about it. We want to see everyone rock this stuff. We want to see everyone like get behind Arsenal Ice so we can actually put in some really good R&D money next year to get you guys the proper products that you guys have been wanting for years in ice fishing, but no one's really stepped up to the plate to make them yet. And I'm about to knock a grand slam with these boys out the park with some of this ice gear. And I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm not an ice fisherman myself. I'm an open water guy, but I'm so excited about this ice gear that it's probably going to turn me into an ice fisherman soon. So I'm really pumped. So again, please check us out soon with all the ice stuff as well. But yeah, that's what we're doing. We're kind of side going into some walleye pan stuff and giving ice fishing a shot.
Nope, the ice will remain in my tumbler, and that's about it. But I could see where maybe like an Arsenal ice hoodie to my kid's hockey game. That is about as close to crossover as you probably see.
So I did a mascot, and I don't want to say the mascot just yet because it's so freaking cool. And I wanted to actually make a new name for the company, but we just are not there yet. And I actually wanted to make a new name, and the guy that I hired this year, Luke, he came up with the perfect name for the company. But it's so much work to rebrand another company and do the corporation, LLC, the taxes, all of that. So the guy said, let's just keep it as Arsenal, because what we're trying to do is get people we're trying to cross promote some of our products. And we don't understand like why some of our products haven't sold in the ice industry yet. We make some really cool scissors that can still be used in the ice fishing world. We make pliers and other tools that could be used in the ice fishing world. We have Arsenal beanies and winter apparel that could be used in the ice fishing world as well. But it's always been promoted as this open water bass brand. So ice guys get so compartmentalized in just their industry that they just are like, well, it's not an ice brand, that we're not going to support it. Well, now we're going to have our own department for ice, color scheme, imagery, all that, to help you guys out where you guys feel like you can't support the company because of an image, where we're going to give you the proper image so you do support Arsenal in both regards. If you want to do open water, we got it for you. If you want to do ice stuff, it's there for you now too. And you're not going to have to, support the green fish logo if you don't want. You're going to support this new cool mascot that we got, that every person, even if you don't ice fish, you're going to want to wear this logo. It's cool. And if you're a Minnesota,
going to be like so cool that Justin Bieber is going to be wearing it like a Bass Pro Cap, and then it'll be trending.
I could, in 10 years, it probably could. I'm not kidding. I feel like it is like the Jordan logo or like a Polo logo, something very simplistic, but it's powerful as hell. And like, that's what we all wanted. And I came up with it like on the spot with the guys one night when we sat down to talk about the company, and they all just lit up. The moment I turned the laptop to them at the bar and was like, this is what I came up with, everyone was like, that's it. That, like, nothing else. Don't even waste your time, Dan, anymore. That's perfect. Every gender, every demographic is going to want to wear this. It's cool. And even if you don't wear it, a majority of people are going to say, that's a really cool logo. I don't know if I'm going to support that mascot, or I'm not going to support that imagery, but I think most people are going to be like, that's cool, that's slick, that's simple. It could go both ways, even without putting Arsenal under the mascot or just wearing it plain. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about it. See, look at that. Crossover from David Fink right there, saying that he uses his retractable scissors on his ice bibs. I've actually heard that a lot. Oh, the ninjas. What did I say?
No, yeah, just saying the ninja snips.
Oh, yeah, the ninja snips. So many guys love our covert scissors more than the ninjas. The ninjas can actually kind of freeze up if you keep them out in the elements too long. I don't want to like downgrade my own product, but out of the 3 tiers of scissors, I always thought it was covert, battle, ninja, from best to worst. But the battle scissors sold out first, then the coverts, and then the ninjas. So on terms of sales, it went battle, covert, ninja. But in terms, I think, of quality of feedback from people, of how well they cut and how well the longevity is, of no rust, or they stay in the boat well, it's been covert, battle, ninja. But a lot of guys also, with our covert scissors, there is a little ring, like a little area where you can attach like the carabiner or a rope or whatever. So I see a lot of guys taking the retractable reel from our ninja scissors and putting them on their covert scissors. And a lot of guys like that for the ice fishing stuff, because both our ninjas and our coverts, they don't have a very pointy tip. It's a rounded tip, so it's not going to pop through your gear. So that's why I tell a lot of open boat anglers too, is like, I actually hold the coverts in maybe some of my pockets sometimes while I'm fishing, so I don't have to waste time looking for them in the boat or reach down for them. They're just right there in my pocket, and even if I bend over awkwardly, they never pop through my pocket because they're not pointed at the tip. And that's another thing that we thought about, when developing products, is like, hey, how is it going to work for the end user in like every regard. And if I didn't figure out that regard, well, that's where customer feedback comes into play.
I prefer the battle braid scissors.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's like a 50-50. These guys are like, hey, I like the scissors with the green handle. Well, 2 of them have green handles. And then normally people will say, oh, the longer one, which is the battle braid or the battle braid scissors. But then I get guys that are like, I love the covert scissors because the handles are, they're squeezy. You can fit them into a cup holder or some of these tool holders. You can kind of move the handle into the tool holder to let it catch so it doesn't bump out of your boat. So there's guys that like each of them for various reasons. But I like that you like the battles, bud. That's good.
So what do you say we take a 1-minute break and then we come back? You can let people know what the code is for the Black Friday sale.
Sounds good.
Are you ready to reel in your next home purchase or refinance? Supreme Lending's Dream Team can help guide you through the entire mortgage process, from pre-qualification to closing. We have a wide variety of home loan programs in our tackle box, including down payment assistance and first-time homebuyer options. You can ask HellaBass. He trusted us to help finance his home. Contact the Dream Team today by searching Supreme Lending Dream Team or click the link below in the description or scan the QR code on your screen.
I'll just talk on that ad real quick. Aaron Dagus is an awesome dude. So Dagus is like, I mean, I don't know if he's probably talked in on this, but Aaron's probably helped out dozens of guys in our state buy a home or at least remortgage or refinance their house. So Aaron helped me. I mean, we didn't actually go through with the deal, but like he helped me get right to a point at one point when I was trying to actually pull some more money out of my house from my company. Aaron and I talked it through, and the guy's extremely knowledgeable. He's there to help you. So yeah, if you guys have some time, go to Aaron Dagus at Dream Team.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Sorry for the quick plug.
No, he's a bass head like the rest of us, and I don't know. I don't know if people might be looking to refi, right? Interest rates might, economy, all that kind of stuff. So give them a look when you're ready. Jig Squad says, it's nice to see the passion that goes behind your business. Seems like you're a hardworking dude. So
thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Do you know who Jig Squad is by chance?
Yeah. Forget. Sometimes I don't remember people's names. He's in Wisconsin.
Okay,
Kuda
Wisconsin
is his
guy.
Nickname. I can't remember his actual name for the life of me, right?
Oh, I didn't know if he was like a local dude in Minnesota or just a really long-term follower of yours or something like that.
He does his own stuff on like YouTube and Instagram. He's super into like custom hand-tied jigs and colors. I forget, he calls them color something, but he kind of has his unique twist on custom jigs and hand tying and shares a lot of your passion about uniqueness and not ripping people off and copying their colorways and that kind of stuff. So
it's so tough, especially in the jig tackle market. I mean, jigs, you can make them at your house. So every single person has a jig company, which is it's really difficult to like build up just a jig company. Like it's sometimes crazy to me to see that like Outcast is still around, or like All Terrain went as far as they did, just building like 8 products. Like that's insane. Like you have to get a lot of momentum behind that jig for it to stay around for 25 years, like All Terrain did, or Outcast. So, props to those guys for being in such a niche market in the industry and still being able to survive. Like that's one of the questions I get a lot is like, Dan, you've been in it for 10 years. Like how are you still surviving? Because most people at my size, it's a hobby company to them. They make a very small side income. You like you with your like Bass Tech, you make your own company so you can have a little bit of play money or some side income to help out your fishing career or help out your channel or whatever. Where I've turned it in from a side income company to now this is my full-time job, and I've been paying myself a salary for the last 6 years, and it's tough at times. I'm not saying that it's easy. I have to grind day in and day out to pay myself and to pay my pro team and to pay some of the new hires that I have in the business now. But it's not easy, and I'm trying, like we've talked in the beginning of this video, how do we step up to get to those next levels? And I'm excited this year because I've never worked with my father. My father was a Fortune 500 CEO for military companies. He worked for Homeland Security. He did, like working at Picatinny Arsenal. We did a lot of different projectiles for the Marines and the Navy and the Army, you name it, and the Air Force. So my dad could never get into like my caliber of business because it was so much lower in terms of like the scale. Like my dad does a contract and it was $100 million or $500 million contract versus like if I do a contract, it's for $20,000 or $50,000 sometimes. So like it was really hard for my dad over the years, like, hey, I can strategic plan your business. But now with my father being retired the last 10 years, he's been able to like see what I've done with my business and now talk to his other buddies that are very well off and have done very successful for themselves. So like now there's a team that I literally talked to my father before I got on here because I hadn't talked to him for like a month. And he had said he had been like in Tennessee with his group of boys, and they were all talking about my company all weekend and how to take it to the next level. And I didn't even ask my father to do that. So even my father's been thinking, how do we get Arsenal to that very next echelon, that next level? And I'm really excited to like see my dad next month because I get to talk to my dad on a strategic planning scale that I never got to touch in my business. And so I get to like have my father pick apart my company from like his perspective of how to break down a company. That was what my father did for 10 years is he went into like these multi-million-dollar companies or billion-dollar companies that were about to fail and then flipped them into being a successful company again. They were all almost going bankrupt. He came in, cleaned house, reassessed what was not working and how to do it correctly, and made these companies into multi-million to billion-dollar companies before he left them. So I've always just been like, hey, Dad, when are you going to help me? Like, when are you going to step up to the plate and like give me some good advice or some feedback? But it just never translated correctly. And now my dad had to think over the last 10 years of how to like train that thought into dumbing it down for me. I hate to say that, but like going from somewhere where you're thinking about contracts, like we just said, to
or at
something
least scaling
smaller.
it down, right?
Exactly. Scale, not, I don't want to say dumbing it down, but scaling it down so it works for me. So my father did that back in like 2018, and we had a lot of good things rolling. But then we were working with a factory in China that actually screwed us for $80,000. And so that year in 2018, I was supposed to have a really big year with my father kind of helping me out doing the strategic planning side of the business. But then when China screwed us over for 80 grand, well, there goes most of our inventory that year, and I didn't get to do anything. Luckily, with my dad's name and power, we were able to literally talk to that factory and get all of our money back, which is pretty unheard of when you're trying to recoup money from a different country. You know, they could literally bailed on us, ghosted us in 2 seconds, and we would have never seen that money. We just never got our gear. You know, hey, put in the money, put in our deposits. Supposed to see gear in 3 months. Nope, we didn't see it in 4 months. Nope, we didn't see it in 6 months. Nope, we didn't see it in 9 months. Okay, now you ruined our whole year. We're not going to make any income on this. I'm screwed as an individual. I didn't know what to do. I was kind of like at my wit's end. My dog died right after that. Like I was in a bad spot, but then, you know, my dad stepped up to the plate. He taught me how to negotiate a certain way with China, and it worked, and I got all my money back. So my father's advice went a long way for me, and it gave me motivation to start the company. Like I didn't start it back up, but to continue it. I almost bailed on it in 2018, 2019, but I got some good motivation to be like, don't stop this. There's a lot of momentum. There's a lot of following and people that want this. So let's move forward with it. But I moved forward without my father. I did it all on my own at that point. No one else's advice except people from the, from team members or people really close in my circle that were giving me feedback. But now, I have my lady, Courtney, she's helping out with the book. She does a lot of the email communications. She does all the invoicing. She kind of does the book work for me. She's the one packing everyone's orders right now in the basement. She does inventory control. And that gives me a lot more time to focus on retail, working with retailers, doing all my design work, the marketing side of things, social media, being on the phone, responding to people's inquiries. It's just a lot of work, even with a 3-person show, with even hiring Luke up in Collegeville right now, even giving him a wealth of graphic design stuff and social media stuff to do. It still feels like I'm still running the same amount that I was before. It never stops. It keeps going. The more I build my company, the more I'm going to have more work to do and more people to hire. So I've learned to let the reins go a little bit over the last couple of years and give the trust into the people that I'm hiring to do a good and efficient job so I can get to the next part of the business circle. And just really excited to see what's going to happen in the next 2 years, especially with Arsenal Fishing, because it's more of like that product in your hand. And Arsenal Customs, it kind of runs itself with the doing jerseys for everybody. Yeah, we didn't really talk on that too much, but Arsenal Customs does really well, and that kind of helps keep Arsenal Fishing alive right now. So
you almost didn't make it to the point where I bought these players from you when we were fishing the same tournament at Gunnersville.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I ever got. I bought, I think we're eating dinner at the Gunnersville Regional, and I was like, Dan, I need here's $20 or whatever. I need a pile of pliers and a pile of tubes. And I ended up catching some really big bass on a Nico rig in that tournament on day 2.
That's so cool, because like I showed up and I felt like I was the outlier on the team that year, because I barely made 10th and to make the team by like 100th of an ounce. And then I just kind of felt like the outsider when I got there, because there's some guys on the team that have been very like veteran Minnesota regional guys, like Kent and you, and was Tad on the team that year? I'm forgetting. Well, Johnston Westmoreland was on the team. He was kind of like a kind of vet OG kind of dude.
Tom Kiefer.
I don't know, just Yep. So Tom Kiefer. So I don't know, but then everyone came to my boat like on the second day after I crushed like practice. I was like the only one in practice to do really good on the first day of practice. And it was because of my Nico rigging and my 2-plier, no lie. And like everyone came to the truck right after that meeting. And like I think everyone on the team, including you, bought the pliers, bought the tubes, and they all went out for their first times to try that on Lake Gunnersville with a Minnesota product. So that was kind of cool. And then to see guys come back on practices and say it worked for me. I knew that we had something special going into 2019. So
yeah. So we said we were going to give that code after that commercial, so we should probably not forget about that.
Yeah. So the code is Our Time to Shine, all together, and you guys will get 35% off. Freaking big code. No 20, no 25%, not even 30. Everyone's getting 35% off starting today.
Did I get it right?
Our Time to Shine, just like that. 35% off the whole site. The only thing that's excluded is kits, weigh bags, and anything that's already on sale. So because there's going to be a lot of on sale items for doorbusters and stuff like that. So we're not obviously going to put 35% off something that's already 50% or 30% off. So there's a lot of other good deals. Those other deals are going up tonight. So like I haven't put the doorbuster sales up yet, but right now, if you were to put the code in right now, you would get 35% off your order. But we're going to do, starting Black Friday, there's some other doorbuster deals and some other goodies that are going to happen. But if you want to get ahead on some stuff that might sell out quicker than other people, shoot on over the site. Our Time to Shine, 35% off. And we got a lot of stuff. We also we got the new Ned resupply kit. We did so well with our Nico wacky rigging kit. It's probably one of our best selling items on the shop, that we wanted to do a Ned resupply kit. And you get 3 bags of, Neds. All right. Yeah. Three bags of Neds, a bunch of deadly Nedleys in both the weedless and the regular version, some Viper rattlers that you can fit into those, the ballistic Neds. And you get it in one of our battalion bags, which is not full waterproof, but it's the best water resistant bag out there. It's almost waterproof. It just doesn't have one technology that's in the legacy bag. But yeah,
but
I
you
mean,
can
we have a lot.
get the new I mean, like, and I think like the tool, like some of my favorite stuff, right, is like the tools, like
Yeah.
the scissors, the wacky Nico tool, the new pliers, the sun gloves,
Oh
like
yeah. Sun gloves have been
if
doing
you guys
pretty good
haven't
too.
tried the sun gloves, like um those are pretty legit. So I'm just thinking like
Yeah,
I
we're
mean,
getting finally
it's
low
all
on
I'm just
those.
talking about some of my favorites, right? Like
Oh, okay,
the
yeah.
beanies are nice and warm, but yeah, like these gloves, if you're basically getting these for like $15, they're a steal. So
Yeah, they're gonna probably be on sale tonight. Since he just said that, I'll probably put them on sale for you guys. But like sometimes on my sale, I kind of put them down to about 15, $16, like he said, and it's totally worth it. And they last a long time. Oh, dude, I'm finally glad to see someone in the chat say I'm getting the Fuck Pike hat. We also have Fuck Pike hoodies. So they come in different color schemes. There's like a gray Fuck Pike, a hoodie, and a black one as well. They're awesome.
is that on I remember seeing it on social, but I don't remember. Is it
A performance hoodie? You're asking?
no? I was thinking
Well,
like,
the Fuck Pike,
you said is it a hat? You said
yeah,
headwear.
right there. It says for sale. It's on this page. Just scroll down. It's under the white hoodie.
Oh, there it is.
Right there. Fuck. Yep, there it is. We came out with it and I never really advertised it this year, and I should have, because I feel like that should have sold out instantly. We get people to trickle in and buy that from here and there, but I mean, yeah, that's one of those things. Like, I feel like if I put that on like an Instagram, Facebook ad and paid for it, done deal. Like, that thing's gonna sell out in like really quickly. Oh, I see Brian's asking about the tactical minnow. It is like basically sold out. I think the only color that we have in like the 4.5 is brown pumpkin and dirty oil right now. And then we have a couple sizes in the 3-inch, but basically like they're really on the cusp about being completely sold out. All your best sizes in the 4.5, which most guys use for chatterbaits and swim jigs, they're all the best colors are sold out right now. I'm working on a version 2. The mold's been done for a while. It's just coming up with the funding to make sure it comes out, before probably March or April. So it's not going to be available anytime soon or for the holiday sales, but I think for the start of our Minnesota season, we should have new assault bugs and we should have new tactical minnows, and they'll be in all new colors, all new plastic. It's going to be under the same factory that we went with the ballistic Neds. That supplier had a really good pouring. They had just really good pourers for colors and um, glitter, anything else. I really enjoyed their color schemes and their pours better than my other factory. The other factory though did have this type of plastic that I still feel was like unmatched, where it held up very well and didn't break down like a lot of other companies. So I'm trying to find that compound so we can use it with the new supplier. So that's what's taking so long, is I'm trying to figure out how to move the compound from one supplier to the other supplier without them kind of knowing. So, because if they knew that, they wouldn't want to, release my molds. So it happened, it's
Yeah.
hard once you like dial in stuff with one factory to let them to release it to another factory.
One thing that I've liked this thing for, I mean, obviously you can use it as a Ned rig or a drop shot, but as a mini
Oh,
max
yeah.
trailer. So the
Oh,
little
yeah.
mini max chatterbait, this is like the perfect little, like, it's like a tiny little spunk shad almost, right? Like, so people like to throw the bigger spunk shads, but this is like a little tiny spunk shad for your small micro chatterbaits.
Yeah, he brings up a massively awesome point. Is it says that it's marketed as the ballistic Ned, but I made it 4-inch for a reason, because it's got a bigger solid body. So if you want a 3-inch or a 2.5-inch Ned, you can cut it off and make it to the size Ned you want. So it's a versatile Ned. You want a big Ned, it's ready for you. If you want a smaller Ned, cut it down to your size. And then if you want to keep it all 4-inch, it's a perfect for spinnerbait trailer. If you want just a little, pin-tailed spinnerbait, awesome. Chatterbait, it works for the regular chatterbaits. It's exceptional for the mini max, like, or the mini chatterbait that he's talking about. When I was down on Lake Chickamauga for Toyota last year, I used the mini chatterbait, white, or the white with a little bit of the chartreuse in it, with our white ballistic net, and it was unreal. I think my 5th cast of that entire lake, I caught almost a 5-pounder on that specific bait, like that, like rigged like that. So, and another one too, buzz bait. Throw that on the back of a buzz bait just to keep it a little bit more buoyant on the top of the water, and to let it, give a little bit more action instead of just a skirt. Because those are very buoyant. They do float. A lot of people don't know that about that bait.
I even put it on the back of it. I haven't seen those new bass puzzle grass pieces, which is kind of like a chatterbait, but it was pretty good on Grand, getting a few bites on that. So,
oh, cool. But yeah, very versatile bait. I think that's another thing, like, just people overshadow it because it has the word net in it. But yeah, and then we have an Amazon store coming out. I'm hoping to put it up go put it live either tonight, tomorrow, or Friday. I've been working on it for a while. We were just trying to dial in that commercial that you guys all saw before we made it live, and then we're good to go there. You're on Amazon now? You're probably just searched up stuff, right? Yeah.
Well,
So
I
like, if
think
you just search up,
you can click on the brand and it'll, like, it's not really like, but
a
so if
storefront.
you
Yeah.
are, I guess the nice thing here, like, if you don't want to pay shipping and you got Amazon Prime, you can grab stuff off Amazon now.
Yeah, so like, you'll see, like, a lot of the stuff on Amazon is much more expensive than going to our website. First off, we don't want to, compete with the retailers. And second is, with Amazon, you have to get it out by a certain time period, or your deducted money, deducted points, you can lose your shop. So you have to be very aggressive with your shipping with Amazon Prime, or just Amazon in general. So that's where you see, like, the beanie might be more money here because you're also paying your Prime shipping within the price of the beanie. Up on that one, it looks like nope, you have to add the delivery. But some of the other products, we put the Prime shipping rate in with the price of the product. So, like, for example, like, if you wanted stealth tubes, but you wanted to go buy them off the website, you're going to spend $7.99 on our website, plus probably $7 of shipping. You're going to get those stealth tubes for 16, 17 bucks by the time they hit your door. But if you get them on Amazon, they're 15 with Prime or something like that. So it's about the same thing, except you're kind of guaranteed that we're going to ship it on time for you. Not saying that we don't ship it on time through the website, but there is a little bit of, like, delay shipping off the website versus Amazon. I will bring that up, because we got to be so perfect with the Amazon stuff now. It forces you to get stuff out that day, no questions asked.
Sure. And then, like, doing some things like making a 3-pack with the swim jigs to
Yeah,
offset
it
some
doesn't
of that
make
stuff,
sense. It doesn't make sense to sell one on Amazon. It becomes too expensive for one jig. But if you make it a 3 or a 5-pack, then it equates with the shipping to make it make sense. But right now, if you look up the company, you're just going to see search results of our products. You can see them all up in a line. We do have one distribution company out of Table Rock called R&M Industries. I think they go by RM or Right Height under Amazon right now. And they've been selling our stuff on Amazon for the last 4 years, and they've done actually really well. But we didn't see they weren't ordering for the last 2 years. And I was like, well, I guess it's time for us to put our stuff on Amazon. And then I finally started putting our stuff on Amazon. They contacted us about it. And I was like, well, I haven't seen an order with you guys for 1.5 years. Like, I told you eventually we were going to get on Amazon ourselves. And he's like, well, we fired the guy, the guy that did your account lost his job. And then the lady that came in and took over his job, she ended up passing away. So, I mean, it's not a laughing matter, but I'm just saying it just lost of translation. Whoever was doing the purchasing for this distribution company just kind of lost touch with the industry for about 1 year. And now, since they saw us kind of motivated to put our stuff on Amazon, they've kind of reached out. So they're going to still sell some of our stuff, but we're also going to try to put our entire catalog on Amazon as well. It's just going to take a while because there's a lot of red tape to jump through with Amazon. Half the stuff that we put up and we submit it's flagged for days or weeks before it actually gets accepted. They're very crazy about the images that you put up. I've even put in images where like I maybe had illustrated or photoshopped our logo on an old prototype that we had just to kind of get things going, and it looks identical to our product. No one would know the difference, but their AI can really understand the difference between this was a photo of your product and this was an altered image. And so it's nuts. It's good that there's protection like that on Amazon where they call you out, but it does set you back on some stuff. And with like that company that was selling our stuff before, they had already like put our name as the producer of some of the product or put our name into their titling of the product, which obviously pops up a red flag too sometimes. So I had to going back and forth with these companies to just get our products on Amazon, but it's going to be all worth it. We're just trying to get the name even to more of the public image. Enough's enough with Arsenal just being this Minnesota brand or this regional Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa brand. It's time to kind of gravitate to the larger markets. And what's weird is, as I say that, we see actually more of our online sales all out of state than locally. It seems like we've talked about this, Rich. Most of our local market probably already has a bunch of Arsenal stuff, so it's really hard for them to go back and rebuy it. It's because they're like, well, I already got this tool, and I already got the scissor, and I got the weigh bag, and all the products so good. I'm tooting my own horn here that they don't need to rebuy it, and that's how that works, you know. And like that's like I learned back in the rollerblade days, even from my father. He never really supported the rollerblade stuff because he didn't ever saw any money in it. But he would always say this to me. He goes, Dan, you're making the wheels so good that guys don't come back to buy wheels again, because all my competitor wheels, guys would run through their wheels in a couple weeks to a month. My wheels would last 3 months. So yeah, you had to pay an extra $15 for my wheels, but they were quality. And because of that, I affected the industry greatly to where everyone else had to come up to quality with my wheels. And I've just put that same kind of philosophy into the products that I'm building with Arsenal. It's like, yes, I want guys to run through stuff so they buy it again, but I don't want them to run through it as quick where they're having to buy it all the time or have to offer them warranties to keep them, interested in the brand. I want people to say, hey, I've had this for a couple of years. This is really good. I'm going to go buy some other stuff that Arsenal creates because that's probably a quality product as well. It's really hard nowadays to go over to China or the Philippines or Korea and get a product made that lasts 5 to 10 years. If you can get something where you do a lot of R&D, a lot of trial and error, and get someone to actually develop something for you that's going to last a decade or even half of a decade right now, you're on to something. And that's what I pride myself in, is most of our products have like a good longevity to them where you're not having to reorder them all the time. But that's why I'm going to continuously grow our catalog and add 1 or 2 items every year that I feel are at a high quality and are going to help our industry and our market without compromising integrity and not being a copycat brand like most of the brands out nowadays. So
yeah, I mean, I think unless you drop your tools in the water, you're not going to need new ones. But they are good gifts, like hooking somebody up with some good pliers or good scissors. Nobody's ever going to be pissed about that. I will say that if you fish as much as I do, you probably will only get 1 season out of your gloves. Just like,
oh no, well, they're white and they got gray palms, so of course if you're a guy that's rocking those all the time and have sunscreen around you, or you're picking up your dirty handled rods every day,
they're going to catch on things, or like you're going to get a hook that's going to catch in your glove instead of your hand, which is a plus, right? And so I do want to call out a couple of quick other thing is Powerhouse Lithium.
I've been ranting so much, so maybe if you got some stuff you want to rant out or questions that guys
not
have,
rant, but just opportunities. Powerhouse Lithium, they have a code for PHL20. So if you guys are thinking about getting some Powerhouse Lithium or getting a new lithium battery for your Vexilar or your ice, so if you want to be rocking your Arsenal ice hoodie in a couple weeks and you need a new lithium battery, Powerhouse Lithium has started their sale, their cyber sale, so PHL20 at checkout. which is a little better than the HP10. So if you've been waiting, that's out there. I do think Omnia extended their Black Friday code, which we had talked about for a couple days. And so we talked about last week that Omnia Pro, so there's still an HP Pro code that's going for all of November. We talked about last week. So if you haven't got Pro yet from Omnia, it's $50, but with the code HP Pro, you get a $50 gift card back right away. So that's still out there. There's a link down in the description. We talked about that in more detail last week. I'll put a post up, but Ryan says he's pumped for the new ice fishing gear. Jermaine's checking
cool. I didn't know
in.
Ryan was an ice fisherman.
Ryan's
Ryan's in my
he's
club,
gonna
or
get
he was in my club
Arsenal
for a
ice
couple
sweatshirts
years.
for his brothers for Christmas, hopefully. So
So I know the sweatshirt should be coming in like in 2 weeks. So hopefully, if they come in before I leave town, then I'll be able to get them on the website and get them shipped before the holidays. If not, it's going to have to be when I get back from Florida.
Are they going to be
which is
here
like
before
the
the
January.
ice? Are they going to be able to have them at the ice show, or are they not going to be there for then? I don't even know when the ice show.
The ice show, I think, is like the 6th or the 7th or something like that. And like that was the whole plan. I might have the hoodies done for the ice show and for holiday, but the beanies, I literally was talking to my lady the other night. All the winter hats won't be done till literally the day I leave, which is really upsetting. So yeah, hats will have to be sold after, first week of January. Hoodies, hopefully 2 to 3 weeks away.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess tune into the Crappie Chronicles if you're excited about that'll be the place to probably see that first, I would imagine.
Yeah, so those guys are gonna probably, if they get their hands on the gear before I leave town, they'll be rocking at all the new ice shows coming up. I don't know the schedule of ice shows, but I know there's like 6 ice shows this year that the Crappie Chronicle guys are gonna be hitting up. And then yes, go over to Crappie Chronicles, subscribe to them, please. Support them. We're actually a sponsor of the Crappie Chronicles this year, so the guys are going to be rocking all the gear, using a lot of the gear that's crossover. So the storage bags, even the smaller size, are medium. We have this new frosted look for our legacy bags. We got a clear version and like a frosted version. Frosted version is so freaking cool. I actually like it way better than the clears. And we made a medium size, and it works perfectly for the ice fishing stuff. So even the ice guys are like, this is perfect for our smaller ice tackle boxes that we can fit into this to make sure it's actually waterproof and condition proof. So the legacy bags are good crossovers, and for gifts for your ice fishing friends, and obviously any of the tools. And then we also have a plethora of winter beanies and hoodies for Arsenal that obviously can still cross over for ice fishing guys as well. So definitely check all that stuff out. But yeah, hopefully,
So this is the
that's the frosted look. Yeah, it's a different material. So some of the guys over the years, like the clear ones, they can be a little sticky right when you get them, and like they definitely wear in and open up really well. But the frosted one, it has no stick to it whatsoever. So if you're like putting in packages, you got a bunch of buzz baits still in the package or spinner baits, and you want to throw them in that. When you throw them in, they don't get stuck, so you have to kind of open the bag and force feed them in there. They just slide in really nice and slide out really nice. We also updated the zipper on the new frosted bags. So even the T-pole that he showed you on the old ones, we kind of updated that one too to even be stronger. We didn't need to, but we just did. They said, hey, why don't we make this even stronger? Great, let's do it. So we did that. And then the zipper, it's a tough zipper. So some people will see on the legacies, it's hard to right when you get it to like actually get it out. It's because there's actually a locking mechanism in that zipper to make it waterproof. So you actually pull the zipper into this little kind of hole divot at the end of the zipper. And that's when you know the bag is locked and actually sealed versus all the bags out in the market. So sometimes when you need to unlock it, you kind of have to kind of pop it a little bit or hold the bag pretty tight and then give it a nice little nudge, and then it'll be fine. And if your bag is here's a pro tip too, if the bag is being a little sticky with the zipper, take some chapstick, run it along the edges of the zipper. It's perfect after that. So a lot of people come back to me when I've told that in other YouTubes or podcasts. They're like, the chapstick tip is a huge deal for that. So anyone having issues with the zipper, go throw some chapstick on your zippers. But yeah, excited for this new year. Excited for what's going to happen. Just spent 5 hours today power washing the boat and scrubbing the carpet and scrubbing the sea deck, getting ready. The Vex is for sale. So if anyone's looking for a 2021 fully loaded Vexus 20 VX20, I got one for sale, 69.5. Come hit me up, please, please, please. 90% new gel coat on it. Vexus hooked it up this year. They redid like most of the boat just to make it fresh for me since I'm on the team. They really want to make sure that the team shines really well, and Intune's done a really good job at making sure all of our boats, are working tip top throughout the course of the year. I actually put another 2-year warranty on the engine, so I know that's a really big selling point for a lot of guys with used boats. So if you're like looking, the warranty's probably up on that boat since you use it for 4 years. You got a little more than 2 years left on it at this point. So put a lot of love into that boat too.
I cashed
a lot of good
checks
electronics
with you the 2 times I fished in it, so it's a
it's a check cashing machine. There you go. But yeah, hopefully I got to go up to Intune this week and see. They got the new VX21S, the shallower version. So I'm gonna go check it up. I heard that they got one up there now. So I know Teal. Everyone knows Aaron Teal, the Vexus boy. He rocked the VX20S this year. So I was on the phone with him today trying to get a feel if I'm going to that S version, the new version, or if I'm just maintaining the old VX hull. So we'll see. Keeping with Vexus, they were amazing with me. Can't speak any better about Vexus. Most of you guys are going to say they don't got the speed. They don't, but you don't need all the freaking speed. More than 85% of the time, you don't really need to go 80, 90 miles an hour in a bass boat, guys. For me, I got a bad neck and bad back, and most of you guys are like me, and you got the bad bones and the bad neck, bad back. Trust me, you want to be in those air ride seats, especially if you utilize them and pump them up the right way per pounds of pressure. Some big guys coming in your boat, pump up the seat a little bit to utilize his weight. So when you do hit a wave, when you do take a sharp turn, when you want to just throw your ass into the seat really quick without putting your arm down first and just plop into the seat, that cushions you every single time. It's a really big selling point. And I don't know how every bass boat brand doesn't have that in their boat at this point. It's ridiculous.
That's why.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to do a little Vexus plug. I got to sell this.
No,
boat.
it's a matter of cost, right? Like not everybody values that the same. So, but
what the seat? Yeah. Absolutely. But I mean, all these boats are relatively the same cost now, dude, depending on how you hook it up. If you want to, people think Vexus is astronomical. It's like, well, no, Icon's the most astronomical boat right now. Then Phoenix is almost surpassing Vexus in price now, or is relatively right in that same ballpark. Skeeter, depending on how you throw your boat together, is right into that same Phoenix Vexus ballpark too. And like, I don't know. It's boat sales. There's a tough market right now. Let's just say that there's a lot going on, especially in the used boat market scenarios where it's tough to unload right now. But everyone's got a preference. All the boats are good. All the engines seem pretty well right now. I mean, you only got really two choices. You're either going Merc or Yamaha. There's Suzuki, but I don't think there's enough longevity with that engine with enough guys to have the data to feel comfortable on that purchase yet. But it seems to be a very reliable engine. But yeah, enough boat talk.
It'd be the perfect go slow motor for you. You could just even. What's another couple? You already said you don't have to go that fast. What's another 2 miles an hour when you go to the Suzuki?
I didn't even know. Is that considered a slower engine, the Suzuki?
I think it's like a mile or two slower, but.
Oh wow! Okay.
Well. But if you're not in the shop, it doesn't matter how fast it goes, right? So.
Exactly, and that was what was happening with my Evinrude. It was in the shop every freaking week. So now with this Mercury, I don't think Intune probably saw me 3 times in 4 years. Where that Evinrude, I was in the shop every other week or every other weekend. It was insane, dude. So it was a breath of fresh air running this last boat because it was pretty damn reliable. Old trusty for sure. And it gave me a lot of confidence going back to Mercury as well.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I appreciate
Yeah.
you coming on, Dan. I think we covered a lot
Yeah,
of
man.
ground. Kind of a unique show. So I think some people will appreciate it, love getting a little behind the scenes. Others maybe we're just here for fishing tips, and that we got plenty of those on other shows. So it's fun to bring
Yeah, you
a
got plenty of
fresh
that. Yeah.
perspective and a unique perspective, and give another look for the audience. And I think based on the comments, some people definitely enjoyed it, and I'm sure some people will kick back and when I'm on my regular night, I'll listen to the MP3 or watch the replay on YouTube later. And so love to hear it in the comments of people watching later of, hey, you guys enjoy this? You want more of this? So
Yeah, if you guys want more, just tell them what we want to talk about, and I'm down to talk about it all day long. I'm a chatterbox. So yeah, Rich, again, you can always tell me to shut up and pop in more because I feel like it was the Dan Fabiano show tonight.
some guests I gotta pry it out of them, and other guests it's not as much work. So my throat needs a break every now and then.
Yeah, you're about late, bro.
Yeah, we just talked about the Powerhouse Lithium Black Friday sale, so you just missed that, RJ.
Oh, is RJ the owner of Powerhouse?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
But
Nice. Welcome.
RJ, there
And
there is
hello.
a lanyard for the players. So if I do allow you to go fishing with me, you'll have to have this attachment on. So just for the record.
Cool. Well, I'm excited, guys. Thanks for all the comments and questions tonight. And if you need anything from me, find me on Instagram, Facebook, DM me, shoot me an email, dan@arsenalfishing or info@arsenalfishing.com. I love feedback. I love inquiries. That's like I said in the show, that's how we make new products and get the feedback to make products that, that are already out even better, so love all that stuff. So, and I appreciate everyone that supports the companies. And remember, Arsenal Customs, we do all the custom jersey stuff too, arsenalcustoms.com. If you got a team, you got a company, you got your own local company that's outside of fishing, I got you on all that stuff. So I appreciate all the support, guys, and I'll continue to give you guys good products for the next decade.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll make sure to remember time to shine, all one word, 35% off code for Cyber Week, Cyber Month. And I'll make sure to put that in the video description and the pinned comment for anybody that wants to check that out. So
awesome. Yeah. Guys, please support. Use the codes this Black Friday. I haven't seen a big Black Friday week since 2017. That was our biggest year where we did double-digit thousands for like 3 days. We've never seen that in many years. I would love to see it this year. And I'm putting everyone to the challenge. Help me out. Let's move some product. Let's get some of the new stuff in for the 2025 season. All right, guys? And anyone, literally, I'm the freebie king. So if you guys put in good orders, you get notes from me and you get freebies from me every single time. And if you're one of these guys, I see a lot of guys in the chat that are good supporters of the company where I see you guys have orders in a lot. You guys help me out. I help you guys out. All right. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Just drop a HB or HellaBass in the comments at the end.
Yes.
But either way, thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. As always, here to help you guys catch more big bass and suck less.